waging war on corruption.
All right, you are go.
It's Alex Jones, coming to you live from the front lines of the INFOWAR.
Ladies and gentlemen, here we are broadcasting worldwide on this Friday, pre-Christmas transmission, December 23rd, 2016. In just a couple days, it's going to be 2017, the beginning of the Trump presidency. What are we, like 24 days out or so until the inauguration? We've seen all the incredible moves to keep Trump from getting in. That tells you the globalists do not like what they're seeing. I'm not saying Trump's perfect. Nobody is. But certainly this is real fear, real concern. They have thrown the kitchen sink at the American people, at the people of the UK and many others, trying to keep globalism in place. And it's not working. So this is major, major cause for celebration. And I've not celebrated enough. Last week, whenever they tried to overthrow the electors and intimidate anybody in the death threats, it backfired. Hillary lost more electors from the Electoral College. What was it, last Monday on the 19th of December than Trump did. A major rebuff, a rejection of the entire power of the corporate establishment sewage stream media in their dirty little faces. So certainly an exciting situation. Now, as we speak on this Friday, if all has gone well, I'm going to be listening to the broadcast with you, because if you go into the time-space continuum, I am recording this on Wednesday evening as an intro to a very special retransmission. And when I'm on the holidays, Christmas, time off with the family, I should be Friday hunting with my son, spending some really special time with him. I'll be listening in the deer stand. I haven't really got enough to do that. Haven't done as much hunting as I'd like to this year. Done some bird hunting, a little bit of deer hunting. So I'll be spending some time around the campfire probably with my son after getting off the deer stand this Friday as we all together listen to Jordan Maxwell. We had a very powerful, very informative interview with him last week. He's going to be retransmitted. Then we've got Gerald Celente, very powerful interview, Roger Stone and Matt Bracken, and then Jesse James. And that's something that aired the night before the election on November 7th. Jesse James doesn't do a lot of interviews. He's turning a lot of big, obviously TV shows. He's been demonized by the media, and people really don't know who Jesse James is. I've known Jesse for about 5 years now, or 6 years. Got to be pretty good friends with him, mainly because I lived out in the country, and about a year after I moved out in the country, he moved in next door. So my daughter is the same age as one of his daughters, and so we got to know each other that way. And he predicted Trump would win with certainty on that night before broadcast. And it was a pretty cool interview. It was about an hour-and-a-half live interview. We've edited it down to 45 minutes to fit into the hour. So that's coming up in the fourth hour today. And then the Sunday rebroadcast is going to be the Sunday after the election, a few days after, when I made my predictions about what was going to happen, how they'd try to stop Trump and more. A lot of it obviously has come true, unfortunately, but they have failed. And then on Monday, we got a big rebroadcast coming up with Max Kaiser, where he was in one day, and then in the next day with Adam Curry, then Anthony Cumia and Gavin McInnes. That is on Monday. Obviously, if big events take place over the weekend, because so much is happening, I'll be on the air whether it's Christmas Day or not. And I'll be doing live transmissions as well on Facebook mentions and on YouTube. It'll be posted once I've gone live, archived to Infowars.com. So if something big happens, come hell or high water, if the good Lord is shining on us, I will be on air responding over this holiday weekend, because the globalist model is try to sneak stuff through over holidays and over holiday weekends. Look for big pardons to be signed. Look for more bizarre executive orders to be rammed through as Obama tries to cement his deep sixing of our republic, his attempt to bankrupt the free market system, because the globalists have to compete with that. So all this and more coming up on this Friday, this Sunday, and this Monday, and then I'll be back, Lord willing, the Tuesday after. That'll be the 27th. All right, we're going to go to break and come back with this mighty retransmission. I want to thank you, the listeners, everybody else, and thank the great crew, and wish you a great Christmas and holiday coming up this weekend. Now, Jordan Maxwell, a real treat, is going to join us via video Skype. If you're a radio listener, you can always go to Infowars.com/show and find the free video feeds, the free podcast, the Android and iPhone apps, and more. until I guess they kick us off those platforms like they've done Breitbart. They are now openly in Politico and in the New York Times and every other publication, basically, calling for us to be silenced. They've appointed a mail-order diploma company with 6 employees in Florida, and the Snopes couple that has a big fat cat, so I'm serious, so that means they will decide what you can visit online via Google or Facebook. It's all being announced. So it's an incredible time. They've even taken Ted Koppel out of deep freeze, out of his cryogenic toupee, and had him come out and attack me. Ted Koppel, Alex Jones spreading the manure that fertilizes conspiracy theories all over the internet. And I love it. I grew up watching Ted Koppel on Nightline like he was the biggest genius in the world. But I got to be honest. Ted Koppel did not air fake edited audio tapes of me saying Hillary cuts up children and rapes them under a pizzeria. I was talking about her literally funding the jihadis to kill people in Syria. And then they know in the 1 minute, 18-second clip, I say that, they edit it together. This is criminal. My lawyers, not just civil, when you're lying about somebody like that to get them hurt, there can be criminal penalties. But again, I should be very, very proud of this because it means we're having a big effect. I'm on the opposite of a power trip. If I'm bouncing off the walls, as their energy level against us intensifies, God just gives me more energy. That's the way the universe works. For every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. To have the communist Chinese, that's who our top people believe it's pointed towards. It's a state sponsor. Because if it's the U.S. doing it, it's totally illegal. And the Chinese have taken credit for these exact type of attacks in October. And I showed that PC World article, and it appears to be their handiwork. But they don't want to say that, obviously. But China takes credit for a lot of this stuff, so we'll see if they do in the next few weeks. It's the second biggest they've ever seen. The FBI is obviously involved. And I don't mean just the FBI is like very interested because this is unprecedented. Close to a terabyte a second. Doesn't mean our servers have been penetrated. It's not a hack in that sense. It's denial of service using your hijacked computers and hijacked other computer systems. So that's why we're extending free shipping this entire week. It was going to end today. 50% off colloidal silver and up to 30% off on everything else until everything sells out. It's the end of year. But again, we go into the black generally in the middle of December. It's that last week where you get 5-6 times the orders you normally do in a day that allows us to have extra money in the new year to hire new people or to expand. They have hit us. It's over now $100,000 in loss in 4 days since this began, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, because the sites are up and down. It's very sustained. And again, these attacks are so huge that they can virtually turn on 10,000 servers. And yesterday they went, look, we got over 1,000 servers in big cloud systems. Nothing's ever beaten this. There's no reason to go bigger. They said, if it beats this, it's the biggest ever. Today it went down again. And they're like, okay, we'll go 1,000. So it's a major government sponsor. And these guys are very private. I mean, some of these guys are like presidents and things and vice presidents at major companies. I mean, we're talking people that do Time Warner security nationwide, the people that do, you name it. I mean, there's only 3 of these companies. And we have confidentiality agreements with them, obviously. I mean, they've turned stuff on for us nobody even knows about. That's why I shouldn't get into any of this. But let's just say they've turned stuff on for this that other people don't even get access to. Because here's the deal. They don't want to get beat. If they let the Chinese beat this, everybody's vulnerable. So we're now the test case. I mean, folks have got their s'mores out. They've got their marshmallows out. This is a big party right now. Guys have been up 48 hours, you name it. The big brains are being brought in, and this is all war gamed. This is what this is. This is the biggest attack since October, which was the biggest ever. And it's not pointed at anybody but us. I mean, just in the tech world, because of this, we're going to get all the top hackers tuning in now. I mean, this is like celebrity level stuff. This is, people ask why I'm so happy. I'm being congratulated by the top people right now. I mean, this is a great honor. They said these attacks are 50 times what Trump was under, and he has a similar system as the same group we have, by the way. Not supposed to know that, but it's true. So they're definitely logarithmically upping things. So we're going to break that down. InfoWarsLife.com, InfoWarsStore.com. In their face, let's let them know that we're going to get that capital back. We're going to expand in the new year. I want to thank you all for your support. You can also call toll-free 888-253-3139. You only got 5 or 6 people answering the phones here. At 9, it rolls over an answering service that can take even more orders of operators after 5 o'clock Central. But if it does roll over, it'll go over to that group during the day. But even if they're busy, leave your name and number. We'll call you back within the hour. I want to thank you for your support. 888-253-3139 or INFOWARS.com/newsletter to sign up for our free newsletter so we can send you articles and videos. Even if they shut the sites down, I can directly communicate with you. You can also write to us and buy the products or make a donation. Because here's the deal. It's hard to crack this nut here. Biggest problem getting this news out is having the platform. We're doing it. We're beating them now. Even though they stacked the deck against us, 85 million viewers and listeners the week of the election. 40 million's our new low, 41 million. They're freaked out. They now admit it. I've got stacks of news here admitting, okay, Alex is bigger than the New York Times. What do we do? Do we shut him down? Do we sue him? Do we arrest him? Do we pull his sponsors? Well, he self-funds. Well, you call in the Chinese communist. P.O. Box 19549, Austin, Texas, 78760. P.O. Box 19549, Austin, Texas, 78760. Now, joining us is a man I want to invite back anytime he wants in the new year for 2 hours. He's a hard guy to get on, Jordan Maxwell, and he's been through a lot of hacking himself and a lot of persecution. We're not going to get into that today, but believe me, when you're over the target, it certainly happens. And I just had his bio here in front of me. He's a best-selling author, researcher, JordanMaxwellShow.com. He's doing his own show now, which is great, getting into hidden meanings, the Illuminati, the master plan. And today, he wants to get into why Democrats are so angry, why there's a bigger movement going on around the world, how they manipulate words. I want to ask him, too, because he's a big linguist. It's how they define things. Hillary says you are now the alt-right. Even liberals that oppose her are now the alt-right. How they say we're fake news when they're the admitted fake news. And how we just accept how they define reality. But we're now approaching this point where that isn't happening. And I mean, here's an example of what Jordan does. We're called human resources since the 60s, not humans. You go research it. Under eugenics and bioethics, human resources can be killed. And it's in the U.S. code. So I'm going to skip this break to give him more time. Jordan Maxwell of JordanMaxwellShow.com joining us as we get ready to finish up 2016. He's been predicting the incredible turmoil that's coming, what's happening, but also the awakening to counter that, which the Illuminati will try to take over. But it's always a race. When the Bible says, get behind me, Satan, the devil's always, or that system that calls itself the devil, always trying to counterfeit what the human mind develops. That's why we've always got to be trailblazing to get ahead of it. That's my view. But till the bottom of the hour, you've got the floor. Before I even interrupt her, I will. Jordan, get rolling here. With where we are in history. Thanks for joining us.
Well, thank you, Alex, for allowing me to be on. Boy, there are so many things I want to talk about because everything you said is exactly correct. I mean, we're under attack as Americans. This whole country is under attack. And the reason why is very simple. If you don't take down the biggest guy on the block, then you don't have anything yet. And so this new world order, most of the people around the world have no idea what's going on, so they're very easy to knock over. But America has always been on the forefront of intellectual and education and knowledge and technology. So unless you can destroy this base of resistance to tyranny, then you haven't done anything. That's why they are continuing to attack America, because America is the only country left that offers freedom and liberty and justice for all and all of that kind of ideas and thinking. That came out of the Renaissance. And so, yeah, you're right that we are under attack. The point I wanted to make about well, let me first say that this whole thing about the Democratic people falling out of the chairs because of the election. First of all, you need to understand that all communist countries officially are referred to as democratic republics, like the North Korean Democratic Republic of North Korea, the Democratic Republic of Cuba, the Democratic Republic of China. It's always a democratic republic.
Of the Congo.
Of the Congo, exactly. It's all around the world. Any communist country is always a democratic.
They counterfeited our original republic system, but it's a total joke.
Exactly. And this is why in the book Fire in the Minds of Men, James Billington, who is today the chief librarian for the Library of Congress, This is no slouch. Chief librarian for the Library of Congress wrote a book called Fire in the Minds of Men, in which he explained this whole idea of calling things democratic. And it came out of the old 1840s with the communist revolution, in 1848, the communist movement, etc. So we need to understand that when you use the word democratic today, it does not mean the people's democratic thinking and from the Grecian Empire. We're talking about corporate democracy, which is actually today called communism.
Sure. So we're not talking about a constitutional republic like ours, the first and pretty much only.
Not at all.
We're talking about a democratic republic, which means a Politburo, a secretariat, a totally staged event.
Precisely, and that's exactly why today the communist movement throughout the world is absolutely elated when Obama was made president, because they finally got a full-blown Marxist, Leninist, Soviet communist, old school Soviet communist regime in America. Now, and it said, even the communist publication said, boy, now it's time to really destroy this country big time. Well, that's what happened. And so you've seen, because I've sent you some pictures of the advertisement for Hillary Clinton talking and using communist terms and symbols. And
they even use the classic communist paintings where it shows her face and other faces. I mean, it's the exact same iconography.
Absolutely. So you need to understand that democracy today in America is not a people's democracy where people matter. It's a corporate democracy under world communism. So that's so much for the Communist Party and the Democratic Party in America. But you need to also, in relation to words, if you were, and I'm going to give you an example. If you have a two-story building and you're going to put a lot of weight on the second floor, the first thing you need to do is go downstairs, get on a ladder with a building inspector, and look at the foundation of the floor that you're going to build on to see if it's going to hold that kind of weight. And so what you're doing is you're standing under the foundation that you're going to build on. This is where we get our word understanding, because you're understanding or standing under what you're hearing.
But we never learn the basics of things, so we don't recognize classical tyranny when it's in our face.
Exactly, and it's incredible, because that's the way we've been taught. We've been taught what to think, not how to think. So, and if you have a large package, for instance, if you have a large package and you want to ship it, you go out in the garage, you get some rope and you tie up the package, and that's good enough. But if you're going to take that same rope and tie it off on the end of a 10-story building and hang on it, then you better check the integrity of that rope before you go hanging yourself on it. And so that's what I'm saying.
And what is the integrity of what we've seen? Zero. And I want you to get into definitions, which you're the master of, to get people thinking. But just getting into your first point, what do you make of this whole election? Because, I mean, I want to ask you, why do you think I've been allowed to operate? And then now the attacks are getting exponentially more intense. There is clearly a global awakening happening. They're trying to hijack it. But if you look at Brexit, if you look at Italy starting to pull out, Spain starting to break up, Reykjavik, Iceland, what's happening in Brazil, there is a global awakening to all of this. As world governments announced, they never thought that people would listen to you and I, but they did. They did listen to Ron Paul and countless others. But I mean, I know you're a truist. I mean, you'll just tell us what you really think. Not an optimist, not a pessimist. But Jordan Maxwell, you talk about why are the Democrats so angry. I think it's because they now, even at the mid-level, have been let in on the fact this is a great work, a great takeover, and they fundamentally see it worldwide being destroyed right now.
Yeah, and that's exactly right. You know, and they are involved, this democratic so-called thing is involved in Hollywood, it's involved in all of our institutions, because we've allowed it to happen. I mean, we remember talking, many years ago about the Marxist professors in universities, but nobody really knew much about what Marxism was.
It just hit me. It hit me. It's always so thought-provoking when you come on.
Say it again?
It's so thought-provoking. Of course, all the communists call their countries democratic. That's a word cooked up by the Democratic Party, which were the Jacobin side of the whole Illuminati. and it's all right there in history, but no one knows. So break it down. Sorry.
That's exactly right. Let me give you an example of how Hollywood is involved in this. You know, the Emmys that we see on television, which is incredible operation today in America and around the world, television. But the Emmys are presented to the world by the National Academy of Television Arts and Sciences. The first letter in that title is National Academy of Television Arts and Sciences, which is NATAS, which is spelled backwards Satan. And when you begin to look at how Hollywood was founded, back in the ancient times, and I've told you this, I think, before, but in ancient times in Europe, there was a civilization in ancient Europe even before the Roman Empire, and it was called Druids. And this is what we're dealing with today in America and around the world, Druidism. And among the Druids, pre-Roman Empire, they're still here today running the world, but among the Druids, there was a magic symbol that was very important to Druidism in Europe, and it was a magic wand. And it was like Merlin the magician with the magic wand, Mickey Mouse with a magic wand. Also, orchestra conductors use a magic wand to play the music. So magic wands were always made out of the wood of a holly tree. It's made out of Hollywood. And once you understand the symbolism, the words and the terms and how words are used, it's all magic. It's all a very high form of druidic, professionally done magic.
And that's right. They call it lesser magic to hide the name of it. Satan right in front of you. You don't see it. When they see it, it takes them up above you. They believe prophetically, so they have a right to rule you.
Precisely. And that's what I've been saying since 1959 and 60.
By the way, that's in standard, I mean, not the stuff they sell in stores, but real 500-year-old black magic books that, come out of Babylon and Israel. It's all right there. That's what they do.
That's exactly right. This is a very ancient science. That's why today the study of politics is called political science. It's an actual science. And so it's based on the ancient magic, ancient mystical
And the
symbols.
low-level stuff is all trash and garbage and false science to control even the upper-level minions. What percentage would you say, because we're kind of reverse engineering this here, what percentage of the actual controllers would you say are full-on what they would call alchemists, wizards, sorcerers?
Myself, I would say 100%, because I see it everywhere. I see it in newspapers, television, magazines.
So you think a large, well, that's what I think 20 years ago was a lower number. So they're actually now moving to the level of actually educating most of their people on what they're doing?
Yes, it's massive worldwide, and that's why people have no idea in the world how big this thing is. And I've been talking about it for many years and trying to get people to listen. There's a very big war, and I mean, you said it best. It's a war for the minds. And when you begin to understand how words are used to manipulate us, incidentally, when you hear people talking about racism, look up the word race in a dictionary. It's the race is a bloodline of animals. The particular kinds of animals are called the dog race, the animal race.
They're getting us to call ourselves animals in the labeling.
Absolutely. So that's why today in the British and American Styles magazine, you will find that the Styles magazine is put out by the government, which has the words that government uses. So if you need to, if you're going to use a word in government, you go to the Styles magazine and see the correct word to use that's being used by the government. Well, if you look up in the Styles magazine, male and female is a word or words that are given to animals. An animal is either a male or a female. A man or a woman is masculine and feminine, not male and female. So therefore, people don't know that. They don't mind calling themselves male or female and having no idea that that means in government terms and in courts, that means you're an animal. And so you need
that goes back again to the fact that we use chattel terms or of bond slaves that goes back to the Middle East and before, where we're taking all of that basically that was expanded into what Roman common law.
That's exactly right. Let me give you another example of how we're being tricked. Suppose you were a painting contractor and I call you to paint my office. All right, you come over and check it out, and then you give me an estimate of $100. Now, after you do the job, you come to me, the way it is done in commerce, you give me a bill for $100. Okay. I then reach in my pocket and I handed you a $100 bill, and now you're happy because I paid you. No, I did not pay you. I did not pay you. You gave me a bill for $100. I gave you a $100 bill. So now you owe me. Look at what's on the face of it. It's a banknote, and you owe me $100. So I didn't pay you.
And that's how they get you out of the regular constitutional money into the whole Federal Reserve System, because it's all their money and it's all debt-based. That's why the debt always has to go up. Now, let's talk about the election.
No doubt about it.
Let's talk about why the Democrats are so mad. I want the truth. I respect you. Your view on Trump, where this is all going, how it's going to unfold. Jordan Maxwell's our guest, a very interesting and informative gentleman. I'm Alex Jones. Infowars.com. We're under mega attack right now, folks. There's to Hillary saying that states ought to honor the popular vote. That would steal the vote of tens of millions. And if you cut out the 3+ million votes in California, if you just cut California out, well, then obviously Trump would have won. And then there's all the fraud against Trump. Now, again, I don't think Trump's perfect, but here's the deal. In my view, it's not reverse psychology that the communist Chinese and the Pope, who is so incredibly wicked. I'm not against Catholics, folks, but that Pope, give me a break. He's just out in the open. Matt Maxwell about that. And the Saudi Arabians, who are pure evil, that is their royal government, and all the rest of it saying we can't have Trump, and they're freaking out. I believe it's because he wants the old prosperity model of Americana, of Renaissance. We have unfair deals. It's been designed to bring America down. That's well known. That's admitted in the major treaties like Agenda 21 that was never ratified in 92, but we're still under it. So I don't think Trump's perfect, but he's a service guy. He makes money off services. He likes seeing prosperity. And when he sees prosperity being lost, it makes him angry. He doesn't like being cheated either. He's never really been part of the elite, as much I know. Now, he's appointed some globalists or whatever, but that's who knows where the bodies are buried to get things done. I care about delivering. $50 billion in Japanese investment day one. He's got us realigned with Japan and Russia now against China. He's really following some really smart people I know in the Pentagon. This is a real attempt at wresting control of the republic before America's deep six, because globalism was sold in the 40s and 50s to end any future world wars, just like World War I was used to get the League of Nations, but it failed. And a lot of good people signed on to it. We're going to send industry to the third world. We're going to give some of our wealth to them, build them up. It's going to end war. But it was all a cheating deal in globalism. Even the economist admits this, to actually impoverish everybody but the elite and to pick the winners and losers. So a lot of former globalists who meant well are now turning against the New World Order, because folks were out there like Jordan Maxwell and many others exposing what was really happening. They weren't all evil. A lot of them really meant well. I've had professors and others come to me, well-known folks, and go, I thought you were wrong trying to take down this great thing we were doing for global peace. It's for the greater good. But I do see, before they said some bad things would have to happen for the greater good, but I see it's not really true. It's all about total control. You're right. What do we do? Well, now that's a bigger kettle of fish. Now we'll see if Maxwell agrees with me on that statement. And then I want to walk through what's currently happening and who he sees to be the different power groups and structures here. Because clearly Trump knows how it all works. But in the words of Dr. Corsi, that's known him for 40 years, he's been basically biding his time, and things are a two-way street. And he's basically snuck up on them now, and that's why they're so scared. Is that true? Or is he just coming in and taking the New World Order away from them for himself? Jordan Maxwell, tell me what you really think.
Well, I like you. I kind of like Trump just as a person, as a man. I like his method, and I like his presentation to the world. But what's really important here is the word peace, because the communists have always used the word peace. What they're talking about, if you look in their journals and read their books and read the Marxist-Leninist philosophy, peace to them means a cessation of againstness, meaning the stopping of being against something. So when you stop being against something, then we have peace. That's what it means to them. It doesn't mean peace for the world.
It means submission.
it means submission. So when you're being raped, if you're fighting, if you got a gun, that's dangerous. If someone's going to be raped and they're carrying a gun, that could be dangerous. Or if they're fighting you and yelling and screaming, then they're fighting the raping. But if you give up, then that's peace, because nobody's going to fight anymore. So that's what Marxist-Leninism in their very publications say. That's what peace means, to give up and accept Marxist-Leninist communism and the concentration camps and the whole thing.
That's like when Emperor Palpatine is wiping out and killing everybody in episode 3, he says, we're bringing peace.
That's true. Because if you kill all of the people who want to be free, then you're going to have peace. Everybody else is just thrown into prisons and thrown into concentration camps.
And notice that's what the Orthodox system of Islam is. It means you will submit. But the truth is, though, once you submit, the torture, the killing, the enslavement only intensifies, because the real religion that George Orwell exposed, whether it be Islam, whether it be communism, fascism, is a boot stomping on the human face. It's the priest of power and sadism, the Jacobins, 9-day work weeks, the world turned upside down, no technology but in the hands of the elite. I mean, let's break down the false Illuminati's religion. Again, I'm not saying the Illuminati's good or bad. The one we know about in Germany and France, the counterfeit of what our forebears tried, not saying they were perfect either, but the Great Enlightenment, Francis Bacon, all of that, there wasn't a constituted Illuminati, but it means bring light to the world. The truth is they claim they're illuminated, but they're saying only they're illuminated because they bring dark to us, correct?
Correct. Absolutely. You have to understand the words that are being used and go back to their reference work to see what those words mean. Remember that quote I gave to you before. It says, when freedom, no man is safe when freedom fails. The best men rot in filthy jails, while those who cried, appease, appease, are hung by those they tried to please. This has been the case in every communist country, and the communist overthrow of every country is that, Mao Zedong did it, and it's a classic example. Mao Zedong had people put to death because they were voicing their disrespect for communism and for the People's Democratic Republic of China. Millions of people were put to death by Mao Zedong.
The Chinese estimate 84 million and say it was a mistake. They kind of locked his wife up after he died. Our CIA obviously declassified in 2004 that they actually put him in power. Why did they kill the people that submitted? Why did the Khmer Rouge do that as well? Why kill like Hitler killed the brown shirts that took him to power?
Yeah, well, because they know that the people who are falling in with them are so stupid that you can't trust them. So if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. So therefore, the idea is that the people who willingly go along with you tells the dictator that these people are so stupid, they don't even know what I'm doing. And that's incredible. They're so stupid. So
that's right. And then a lot of times these Illuminati people actually take those that were their opposition and try under duress to make them join them. They actually respect us.
Exactly. I have had military people say that to me in person. They have, and I don't want to hurt, and I don't want to cause harm to anyone in the military, but there's the people in the military have come to me and saying, Jordan, we respect what you're doing. We don't like what's going on either. We don't. We know what's going on.
Oh yeah, the military. Well, why do you think the military, in my experience, is the most awake group?
It's because they're on the front lines. They're the ones that have to go out and put their life in danger, and then hear the president, being a great peacemaker and given the Nobel Peace Prize. And then you come to find out, no, we got like 35 different wars going on for this man who is supposedly a peacemaker. And so the military knows they've been had. And if you don't know that, all the military has to do is read Kiss the Boys Goodbye by Henry Kissinger, the book called Kiss the Boys Goodbye.
He calls them dumb animals.
Dumb animals just to be used for political purposes. They're all a bunch of animals. That's what Henry Kissinger said. And of course, George Bush's mother, Barbara Bush, she said, if you'll recall, that when they talked about the people being, about our servicemen being killed.
She said, quote, on CNN, we've got the clip somewhere. She said, quote, steal your thunders to prove it's a real quote, folks. You can look this up. She said, I don't think anything of their deaths. I don't let that into my beautiful mind.
That's exactly right. She said, why bother me with such nonsense? I don't care about how many people are dead. That's the president's mother, and that's Henry Kissinger. These are the people who are in power.
Think of the arrogance, because she went on to say, you quoted her exactly, she goes, why would I bother and let that into my beautiful mind?
That's exactly right.
She sends people to die, and then she talks about a beautiful mind. It just shows the total disconnect. Like, they get jumbo jets, but then Hillary tells poor people, and Obama says you can't even have a car.
That's right. I just think it's incredible that, if you don't pay your taxes, the IRS will send, even if you go to the Amazon jungles, the IRS will find you and bring you back and make an example out of you because you're not going to escape. However, with that kind of power and that kind of technology, they can't stop the drug wars going on in Pacoima in California because they don't want to. That's the thing.
Let me stop you, George, because I want to raise questions a lot of folks want to ask you when you're on, and if you'll please come back, I want to do a 2-hour special that we tape next week that we then dole out over the show because it's so important. You were talking about government drug dealing 40 years ago. They were having congressional hearings about it 40 years ago, then 20 years ago about cocaine. It's admitted now. They have movies like Sicario that's basically based on a true story. They called it fiction so they wouldn't get sued. That's actually a true story, like word for word, of something that really happened in South Texas. And they admit, yeah, we want it controlled down to 2 cartels from 10. We control the drug trade. Well, that's a fact. Brzezinski's written books admitting that. In fact, the government even runs the key elements of it, the white slavery trade. And Brzezinski wrote about that in Technotronic era back in the 70s. So their argument is we control it by running it. But no, they actually make it bigger. So what's the paradox now that so much of world government and government narcotics trafficking and everything else is now out in the open? What moment have we reached then?
I think we've finally reached a point in our evolution of the human family for thousands of years. We've come to the point now where we're finally at the very end of a critical period in the total evolution of the human race from over thousands of years. Because for the first time, we now have the technology to rip off and rape and destroy human minds, to manipulate nations upon nations. It's an extraordinary war going on between massive tyranny and the protection of individual humans for freedom and liberty and justice. And I'm telling you that the future is not going to be pretty. If you go back and look at what happened in the Second World War, if you look at what happened in Vietnam, all of this is heading towards something that the world will not be able to come back from. If we lose freedom, is if it's lost, it's gone forever as far as I'm concerned. This is the last and final battle on the earth for human dignity and freedom. And the people, like I said, if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. And if people don't now stand up and understand what's going on, we're going to lose the human race.
Sure.
We're not just going to lose America. We're not just going to lose human freedom.
So the globalists now admit, all the top technocracy people from Kurzweil to you name it, say we're going to end humanity. They've been told by their spirit guides, and they run Google, we've got to end humanity, be given the big prize. And then, of course, we know that the top illuminist, Arthur C. Clarke, who took the reins of the Fabian socialists, told people in speeches, no, my films, my books are allegories of what's going to happen. But he made the joke, it's more like childhood's end. We have to consciously give our consciousness up to this devil, and then he promises to, like, upload us to a computer. I don't want to do that.
No, but that's precisely what's going on. And that's why I've said, and I talked to you before, this is a worldwide movement. I'm not a conspiracy theorist.
No, you're not. So let me ask you selfish questions here, because I want to get stuff you never get into. I was approached as a teenager by high-level Illuminati, and people can now see, look where we are today, and this is real. They could somehow, through inner space, whatever, tell that I had to be targeted or recruited. It failed. Talk about stuff out of a movie, folks. My whole life's been like a movie, at least since about age 10. And weird stuff before that. I know, reading some other writings, talking to some other folks, you haven't really written about this, talked about this, but I know you weren't a bad guy, but you investigated some of these top societies and groups and were actually given interest into some of the real ones that most folks aren't. I can tell by the stuff you talk about. Because obviously I've been told things most people have been told. I mean, can you tell us how deep you got into this?
Oh yes, very, very deep, and it's cost me everything. It's just cost me my life. It's cost me my marriage. It's cost me, it has really taken a toll on me. And the reason why is because there's an old saying: you get what you pay for. If you want a little knowledge, then you pay a little bit. If you want a little bit more knowledge, okay, so you pay a little more. If you want to go to college, well, then you have to pay a lot. But if you want the real story, you're going to pay with your life. If you want the real, actual story about what's going on, if you want to learn a little bit about the underworld and the organized crime, then you can read a couple of books and you'll have a little bit of on. But if you want to know more about the organized crime,
you got to go into it.
Now you got to go into it a little bit, just a little bit. And then if you really want to know, then join. But once you join, the only way you leave is in a box. And so once you have entered into this kind of knowledge of redesigning human beings, of redesigning the whole world, once you actually commit yourself to this kind of research, you're going to pay, and you're going to pay dearly.
And let's be clear, you get to a certain point, even though I've always refused to join them or take their money, you learn the knowledge on your own. You're like one of them, even though you didn't want to. It's the knowledge of evil. You can't, it's like, and then when you say you pay with your life, it's not like they're even doing something to you. You're now in it with them, even though you don't want to be. And you see them feeding on the public. You don't want to. The public's coming after you. And it's incredible.
That is precisely what I'm saying. That's exactly the feeling I feel continually. That's why I have such an empathy for you, because I know I have spent my life since 1959 and 60. I was talking about secret societies. That's 56 years ago.
You're probably the original trailblazer of exposing the modern Illuminati occult.
Well, I've been doing it for almost 60 years now, and you've got to know.
Were you around before Hilder, or you guys were contemporaries?
No, I was out before Hilder, and Hilder came into my life in 1966 when he put out the Illuminati records. I was already in 1962, 63. Even the day John Kennedy was assassinated, I was going down to East Los Angeles to give a lecture on secret societies and world government when I heard on the radio that John Kennedy had been assassinated.
Hilder's a character, isn't he?
Oh yeah, absolutely. But I mean, he's done a lot. As a matter of fact, there's more to Anthony Hilder than meets the eye. He has been involved in big motion picture industry. He's very well.
I know. You don't have to tell me.
Very intelligent boy. He's a very intelligent guy. And he put out the Illuminati records, of which I got back in 1966.
You think Hilder's ever been with an advanced agency?
I have my own opinions, but that's just my opinion. So
yeah, that guy's incredible. We got to get Hilder back on.
I've known Anthony for, I don't know, 40 years now, and he's a remarkable
piece of work,
person.
What he is. All right, really so are you. Yeah, brilliant, both of you. Jordan Maxwell's our guest. We'll give you his website. You need to visit it today, jordanmaxwellshow.com. A treasure of info. We'll be back. Stay with us. This is amazing. I like him on Skype, too. It's like he's in the room with us. All right, we've got Jordan Maxwell with us 5 minutes the next hour. Then David Knight's taking over with all the latest news, the attempt to overthrow the Electoral College, all the craziness, world government being announced. Here's the deal. They're trying to censor the internet. A lot of people just take it for granted. They're announcing the filters, the systems to be put in place where we would have lost the last election. The EU's announcing it's going to put an army in people's countries that try to pull out. I mean, we're going to World War II level crap now. But it's all done by the media like it's no big deal. And then my listeners are like, the Chinese really said we better censor? Then I pull the articles and people go, wow, the Wall Street Journal, the New York Times, they're lecturing us? Yes, they're doing things they've never done before to train us to be slaves. We're under massive hack attack. InfoWarsStore.com is back up. Again, it's a denial of service attack. The store is fine, totally secure to buy from. They try to block it with traffic to shut it down. It's back up. Free shipping. I'm extending it through the week. We've got the Christmas special. It's 20% off on our 3 best sellers. We've got a lot of other big specials. InfoWarsLife.com, InfoWarsStore.com, or call toll-free 888-253-3139. You can find out more about Jordan Maxwell's books and materials and the info he does. as well on his website, jordanmaxwellshow.com. We'll also tweet that out. But here's the deal. If they can hack us and attack us and then hurt us, they're winning. So I want to thank you all for your support in the past. These are great products you need. But if you want to make a straight-up donation, and I don't do this really ever. We don't do money bombs anymore. We just do big sale fundraisers. P.O. Box 19549, Austin, Texas 78760. If you want to just call, the toll-free line and make a donation at 888-253-3139, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. That's how I'm budgeting into the new year, who I'm going to hire, what I'm going to do. I mean, I'm already holding off hiring some people right now. We're looking at the new year, budgeting that, but we need the financial support. You're the reason we have InfoWars. And, of course, it's the Communist Chinese working with the globalists doing this. They're here openly bullying us. Lots of tidbits here in these last two segments that are only a few minutes long, about 3 minutes left here, 5 minutes the next. Jordan, other little tidbits. What do you make of the global power structure? How are things going for the New World Order?
Well, so far, as long as the people are kept ignorant and ill-informed and can't read and can't think, and universities and schools teach you what to think, but they don't teach you how to think. So unless and until you realize that you need to stand up on your own and start looking at the facts of life instead of sitting back and watching television and listening to people. It's like Albert Einstein being I feel like it's like Albert Einstein being taught mathematics by somebody from a mental institution. When you're sitting, you're sitting and watching television, people who are crooked, they are racist, they are mentally deranged in what they're saying, but they're trying to explain to you what's going on. And so I'm
exactly. All they do is push race. Like history isn't cool things that happened or bad things that happened or developments of humanity together and how all humans do the same stuff, good, bad, and ugly. It's all, this was racist, this was not mean, this was good, to make you turn into a victim.
Yeah, I've said before, if you were a normal, everyday, average, intelligent person, and you take a vacation, and you go to a city where there's a huge mental asylum, and for the first time you thought you would go visit this mental hospital just to see how things work, and you're walking through, well, everybody in the place is there because they're mentally deranged and they're mentally crippled, whatever, and so but they are arguing with each other. They're ranting and raving, arguing with each other, but they're used to each other. They're used to doing that. So it's fine with them. But when you come in, they don't like you at all because you don't talk like them, you don't look like them, and nobody knows who you are. So they are really angry with you.
That's right. Political correctness is right out of the Soviet Union, the exact same term.
Totally.
And it creates basket case lunatics with chips on their shoulders running around bullying everyone.
You're right. That's what I'm saying. And so that's why I want to get this plug in real quick. My research, my
Stay
website.
there. We're going back in 70 seconds, Jordan. We're going right to you. Jordan Maxwell. And listen, come back on next week. I want to get you on a lot. I love having you on Skype. And you're a hard guy to get on, so I'm glad you wanted to come on. Stay with us. Under leftist brainwashing, this German Karina Burana music would be called Nazi, or it would be called cultural expropriation. Everything's a thought crime. Every word, every new vocabulary they give you will then be made obsolete within the month or within the year so that they can sit in the place of arbitrating what words can be used, what culture can be adopted. That's why it starts with something simple like, don't call us homosexual. That scientific term like heterosexual hurts us. Call it straight, call it gay. You go, okay, I want to be nice. You're gay. You're happy. You can expropriate words now and, basically without even going to court, just change scientific terms. And then now, don't say you have a mother and father. Some people don't have that. Don't say brown paper bag. That hurts people's feelings. That's racist. No one ever said it was racist, but we say it is, so you can't use that term now. And by the way, don't say this is an Islamic attack. That only encourages more of the attacks. We're going to arrest you if you say this was Islam. We've hired former Stasi to do it. It's like they think the public has collective amnesia. It's our job to expose the fact that this is a cult, multi-cult, culturalism. is about bringing in all these other people who are just people. They act just like people, act like white people, act like black people. Humans act the same. And then they program the minorities to be race-based. It's incredible. Absolutely amazing. Now, we're going to, after the break, get some guests on the broadcast. We have quite a few today. Gerald Celente is coming up at the bottom of the hour to give us his breakdown of what we've seen in the year past and what's coming up in the future. We've got Roger Stone popping in. He's decided to rally and come on for about 10 minutes, even though he's got a cold or is under the weather from not sleeping as much as he should, writing this book. He's been working 18 to 20 hours a day in the last few weeks. And then we've got Paul Joseph Watson scheduled to be hosting the 4th hour today from London, England. And he's got some guests joining him as well. So you don't want to miss all of the rest of the 3 hours that are laid out before us. Now, I need to take a breath here and just sit back and think about what we've just witnessed. I have really not spent any time so far talking about the fact that we have seen Donald J. Trump come from way behind to get the nomination, despite the fact they tried to steal that outrageously, to becoming president-elect, and then now the last 5 weeks of total hysteria trying to stop that and trying to have recounts that only got him more votes and trying to then launch wars and other diversions and trying to say there's a terror attack, it's his fault, and then saying that, again, the electors shouldn't go for him. Despite all that, he got, what, 303 electors of the 270 needed, and they had a bunch of electors actually go against Hillary. More electors went against Hillary, even though no one promoted that, than went against Trump. So it actually backfired in another incredibly repudiating reversal and just showing people don't want her. And I'm glad it was Bernie Sanders people that realized they stole the nomination from him that said, you know what? We're going to be faithless for you because you were faithless and stole this. She lost 4 in Washington state alone. So that's all coming up on the other side of this quick break. We've got video and audio of them getting hysterical and crying and screaming when their goddess, the arrogant, stumbling tyrant, failed. Now, everybody knows that I'm obsessed with how the global social engineers are able to set the parameters and label things. They call themselves progressives. They call themselves liberals. Then when they're in opposition to what libertarians and patriots want, they say, oh, you're right-wing extremist. And then they couple everybody else onto the horrible agenda being carried out by the fake establishment, blue blood, robber baron Republicans. But then in real policy, the Democrats and Republicans carry out the globalism, carry out the modern imperialism, carry out the modern oppression, and then respectively point fingers at each other and say everybody does it. Well, Carol Quigley wrote Tragedy and Hope in the 60s for the CIA because their own section chiefs couldn't understand why they were funding communist, socialist, and fascist, as well as just run-of-the-mill dictators instead of promoting liberty. They were changing over from the Eisenhower policy of trying to put good governments in, which is bad enough because you see where it goes, to putting bad governments in. And Quigley, in the book, which we sell, by the way, in hardcover, it's back in print, 1,100 pages, wasn't meant for the general public. There were lawsuits over it, but because the government paid for it, it went into open domain. When first only a few copies were out there that got leaked, they tried to deny it was real in the early 70s, folks. There was a whole controversy over this book. 1,100 pages. You read it, it's a blueprint, a owner's manual, an operator's manual on how to run full-spectrum political dominance. But at the end, it's all command and control. And it's anti-free market and wants monopolies, oligopolies. Brzezinski's written books that are public admitting it all as well. But those are public. And so that's why they're bringing in Islam, because it's not compatible. And so the leftists who hate the states and who hate the Electoral College and who, all this other garbage, suddenly love it and love the states and said be faithless electors. Well, Hillary Clinton lost more electors than Trump did. In fact, I did the math yesterday. The issue was even in states where people are allowed to be faithless, they just ignored them, arrested them, drug them out, you name it. Imagine if Trump people did that. Turns out, I counted these up last night, Hillary lost more than 30 electors. Trump just lost a few. Incredible. So Hillary lost 4 in Washington. The reason that's so important, that's where the 4 stuck. They went to Bernie Sanders. In other places, they just ignored it, and it was not even in the news, or it was mentioned. Well, they, this group of 7, or this group of 4, or this group of 10, or this group of 2 tried to vote against, but weren't allowed. The police took them out. So I sat there before I shot a live video on Facebook last night, and I tally them up. So, and there's also mainstream news articles that also admitted it. They're like, yeah, Hillary was rebuffed, or Hillary lost more than Trump. So imagine, they're advertising. They're writing thousands of letters to each elector who's Republican. They have Hollywood stars saying, do this, do this, do this, do this. And they get rebuked because Hillary, Joe Biden had to go out on the trail and say, I know you don't like Hillary. I know you like Sanders. But man, Donald Trump's evil. And record numbers of Reagan Democrats, black and white and Hispanic, those type of folks went and they voted for Trump, the same people that voted for Obama, hoping for change. And if Trump doesn't deliver or die trying, he'll be more hated than Obama. Because people weren't sure but gave Obama a chance. I didn't like McCain myself, so I was like, I'm pretty much neutral. Except McCain claims he's less anti-gun, so I got to go McCain. But I didn't vote for him. I just said, we're going to see what happens. And boy, Obama was worse than I thought. I hated the Republicans so much that one of the few times I was wrong in my life, I didn't support McCain. And of course, he was meant to lose. So it was like a Don King boxing match, they say, reportedly, allegedly, sometimes, both boxers kind of know what's going on. Who knows? The point is, in that case, we knew the fix was in. So I said, hey, the fix is in. It doesn't matter. He's the new Messiah. We'll see what happens. But boy, the racial division, all of it. So you've got these whining babies in Wisconsin wailing and freaking out. Here it is.
Thank you, tellers, for tallying the votes. The votes are 10 votes, Donald J. Trump.
You sold out our country!
This is not America. America's been stolen. Don't do this. This is begging for Hillary. This is begging for Hillary, who launches all these wars, steals the donation money from the Haitians. He's involved in all this corruption.
I don't think it's going to make this.
And they're saying, shame, shame, shame. Shame on
the
you.
votes for vice president.
And then they go on and choose the electors also for Mr. Pence. Now, Vice President Pence. Elect, but about to be president in 30 days. You think these desperate people are going to stop? Now, notice they blamed the racist, and they blamed the homophobes. Now you're Russian agents if you support Trump. You want World War III, even though most analysts and historians on the left and right say, no, Hillary would push us towards World War III. Trump's a businessman. He wants a win-win. He doesn't want austerity. He doesn't want eugenics. He doesn't want World War III. That's what the whole Davos system is. They're ultra-rich, you're poor. They end competition. They sew up the whole world. They're diplomatically immune, above the law, tax-exempt. Globalism is the new royalty, and you only operate through license, through licensure to them and administrative law. That's what the world government is. Read the white papers. And because I have read their white papers, I've been contacted. And I've been offered jobs with them. How's 3 million sound? How's 10 million sound? And I even had Rothkopf, head of the Kissinger Group at the time, come on the show. He knew who I was. And John Herman heard during the breaks. He also said on air, Alex, come to New York, meet with us. You know, you're the leader of your group. You're going to be the leader of the opposition. Just work with us. It's a good plan. World government's good. Alex, come on. He said, I just had to get out of here. You know, you're just not sensible. They just have this confidence of we're the good guys. We run things. We're taking over. He said it on air. He said it off air. Yeah, there's a world government. Join it, Alex. And I've had people bigger than Rothkopf. And I wear a journalistic hat, so I'm in a meeting with somebody. You know, it's off record unless they talk about criminal stuff. And they just say, Alex, the public's a bunch of dumb scum. They don't want your help. They're going to adapt to be slaves, not the other way around. They're going to tear you apart. You just need to join us. And I say, why are you saying I should join you? Well, you get it. You read our documents. You care. You understand the plan. You should join us. And I'm not bragging. You can see it, their forethought, that they were trying to hire me. And I'm sure they hire a lot of folks that they see as up-and-comers. 19 years ago, the offer started. Small networks, big networks, the biggest networks, then other deals, TV deals, movie deals. And they look at me and they go, you don't want $10 million, book deals, the best-looking women, and movie deals. Guaranteed movie deals. You're going to be a movie star. You got the talent. You got it all. No, I don't want it. Alex, $10 million is more than I make. Now, I got a bunch of stock. This is the kind of conversations with presidents of things. You don't want $10 million. No, I don't want $10 million. But see, the general public hasn't experienced these things. They don't know, but they're now learning via the WikiLeaks. Now, let me continue. Let's go to this next one. Liberal losers, who, again, aren't liberals, cry and complain. We just played that. Clinton supporters, racism, Russia, why we lost, CNN. So it's this compilation of Russia, racist, homophobes, everything but them, everything but Hillary being a crook, everything but we're sick of the Clinton name, everything but we want change. That's why the same white Midwest elected Obama, who you now call racist. It's made up crap. And then we come back. I'm going to tell you about the real discussions going on in white America. I'm going to let you in on the real secret of what's going on in white America. You're going to hear it on the other side. But first, let's go out to the break with this clip.
As the weeks went by, that deep sense of sadness and loss gave way to a tremendous, tremendous anger as we realize from all the news that's coming out that this election was stolen from the American people by Russia.
What evidence do you have that Russia stole the election?
There was information from the CIA saying that Russia was meddling in the election.
Which they want to be in Congress.
What evidence do you have that it swayed the outcome?
The hacking that the Russian government did of the DNC emails provided...
They use the term hack to mean political hack, influence in the media. Okay, this has all been disproven. The head of all intelligence has come out and said it's all bull. But the Chinese and the Saudi Arabians were openly involved, bragging about it. And look how helpless these women look. You think folks like this built this country? That they've created these soft bureaucrat types that are in la-la land. Here they are.
That the Russian government did of the DNC emails provided an endless supply of negative commentary in the news about Hillary.
How many people think that Russia swayed the outcome of this race? Had it not been for Russia, Hillary Clinton would have won.
You know what? Hit
You
pause.
agree with that?
We're going to come back and play the rest. Folks, this is so asinine. The entire mainstream media admitted they had no qualms about lying about Trump. Totally negative, deception, coordinating with the White House, coordinating with everybody. And then they changed the subject off the WikiLeaks to claiming Russia did it with no evidence. I mean, it is just ridiculous. You didn't vote against Hillary. No, the Russians mind controlled you. How do you think they're going to try to disrupt it now? They failed in stealing the nomination. They failed trying to steal the general election. They failed with their fake recounts that gave more votes to Trump. They failed with the unseating of the electors. Some say there could still be some manipulation up until the 6th or so when they're announced, that there could be something happening in Congress, but I don't really see that happening now. I told you they were going to try, though, but now I feel better about the process, like we've gotten out of the woods, but I feel like something's over the hill. What do you think? In fact, I'm going to open the phones up to take calls on this subject when Salente joins us, just to pop in with your quick comment. 800-25-99231, 800-25-99231. Now, I got cut off getting into the butthurtness of the liberals in a focus group on CNN. A lot of these focus groups have turned out to be fake with Democratic operatives, but it's all these women that are just shocked the Russians took over. It's all been discredited. It's all bull. But it changes the subject from the WikiLeaks. It's so ridiculous. Talk about a conspiracy theory. It was U.S. intelligence leaked the information. It was U.S. intelligence linked up with the Russians and gave intel on helping kill ISIS. Our military told Obama 3+ years ago, it stops now. And I told you that was historical. There's already been a soft coup against the globalists. The globalists took over the country through fraud. There was a soft coup because the internet news, not just us, was able to get the information to the troops. Pat Riley was on a plane yesterday back from taking some time off with his wife in Sedona, Arizona. And as they landed, the news was coming out that there'd been this latest truck attack in Berlin, killing a bunch of people. It's now 12 people, more in critical condition, 60+ injured. And he said he started watching people sitting beside him in front of him. Clearly a military guy went to InfoWars. It wasn't updated yet, 30 minutes after. And then he watched the guy go to Drudge. And then he's walking down the hall. He watches somebody go to Fox. It's not there. He watches him go to InfoWars. And he watches him go to Drudge. I mean, there it is right there. Of course, Drudge had it within 2 minutes. I was sitting there shooting a video at home. And already on the Nice situation and part 2, what happened in Berlin. And then the news came in that he got in the 270. Sure enough, I went to Drudge, and Drudge had it. And I called up the great crew. That's why we need a few more staff. And said, hey, post this article. It's kind of that in-between time at like 5 o'clock or so is when people are going off to shift. And there's not really anybody at night who's on unless this crew just decides to work 18 hours a day. I need 4 or 5 more writers, more posters, more analysts. I need more camera people. I need it now. That's why we have free shipping store-wide to try to get enough volume to pay the bills around here. People respond to discounts. The products are already discounted generally, but we lower the prices, like 33% off on Brain Force, 20% more now in each bottle. That's basically a loss leader. 50% off on colloidal silver, $9.95 right now, and free shipping. Sign up for auto ship, an additional 10% off. We're extending it throughout the week. Try to make back the capital we were budgeting on to be able to hire the new crew in the new year and be able to expand. And listeners have made up most of the shortfall from the hackers blocking out Infowars.com and InfoWarsStore.com. Again, the sites weren't hacked in the traditional sense of gotten into. They were just blocked with massive denial of service attacks, DDoS attacks, robot attacks. And so now they're back up for now. Thank you for your support. If you were unable to order or there's more products you want to get or you want to support the First Amendment, InfoWarsStore.com, InfoWarsLife.com, or always you can call toll-free 24/7, 888-253-3139. Let's go out to break, though, with the rest of the CNN disinformation network with these poor Democrat voters.
The hacking that the Russian government did of the DNC emails provided an endless supply of negative commentary in the news about Hillary.
How many people think that Russia swayed the outcome of this race? Had it not been for Russia, Hillary Clinton would have won. You agree with that?
I don't know.
Well, we don't know yet. But for months and months and months, all of the American voters were swayed by what they heard and saw on the news.
The other thing I thought was a big factor is the fake news on Facebook.
Why? What fake news story cost her the election?
I would say the fake news and the Russia stuff are very connected because a lot of the fake news came out of people's interpretation of the leaks. A lot of late deciding voters broke for Trump, and the Comey email, it sort of seemed to line up in terms of timing with the Comey email.
What I don't hear you saying is putting any responsibility on her campaign. What percentage?
The empire's on the run.
We'll be back. Gotta just settle down because this type of news drives me crazy. To witness Nice this summer, to witness Berlin as an 18-wheeler runs over men, women, and children, and to watch the media be apologists and to cover up for Orthodox Islam, and to know they knew bringing in millions of military-age men from war-torn areas where their cult is so out of control, they're constantly all killing each other. I mean, I don't want to be in a Jim Jones cult. I don't want to be in the Islamic cult. I don't want to go to Arkansas with snake handlers and roll around either. I mean, I just don't like cults. And I know a cult when I'm looking at one, and the brand of Islam coming out of Saudi Arabia's rear end that's sprayed all over Europe and the rest of the world is a cult. The only other freakier, weirder one is North Korea. And I haven't decided which one's worse, quite frankly. And I can make that judgment. North Korea is frickin' crazy. A hereditary dictator that executes family members with mortar fire, with 3 days of screaming and crying and worshiping him when he walks around or his dad dies. I mean, that's the only time I see is when Hillary lost. It was the same. Trump's going to cut our taxes. He's going to murder the gay people. And the right wing was like, oh, this is wonderful. We're going to vote for Trump. And I was like, he's got rainbow flags at the convention. Nobody's ever done that. He's saying up there, be nice to all the gay people. Now some of the right wing's like, he's not anti-gay. What are we going to do? He lied to us. He never said that. I mean, I love how the right wing was buying all the left wing's lies, too, about Trump. And then the left spins it and goes, oh, he conned you, see. He made you think he was right wing. No, he didn't. He's nationalistic. He's kind of strong-manny. But compared to globalists trying to destroy the country, I'll take Trump any day. I mean, he does radical stuff like goes and gives speeches by Christmas trees and says, Merry Christmas. What type of culture are we in where the president can't say Merry Christmas? And the media is like, boy, that was extreme. What next? Gerald Celente joins us until the end of the hour. Then we have Matt Bracken, former Navy SEAL expert on the jihad attack and the Tet 2 soft offensive by Islam we're seeing. Obviously, we're going to talk about the cold-blooded execution of the Russian ambassador to Turkey, which Russia says is a false flag. Here it is. Ambassador assassination. Russian officials blame NATO. Turks blame Gulen. Russian MP blames NATO conspiracy for killing of ambassador in Turkey. That's out of the Independent. Yeah, it calls it a false flag. Both of those terms are now in the vernacular, in the nomenclature. Putin, Russian ambassador murder aimed at undermining Syria peace process. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Russian officials, highly likely ambassador assassination in NATO, false flag. That's Infowars.com, where you actually get what the Russians said. Continuing, Russian diplomat found dead from a gunshot wound at home just hours after ambassador killed at art exhibition. Remember, Obama said, we will counter Russia at the time of our choosing? That's what you're seeing. A lot of Russian intelligence operatives, including the head of intelligence, has been killed. They're really trying to start a war with Russia. Now, a good way to do that, start killing Putin's drivers, start killing the ambassadors, start killing members of the media, then blame it on Putin. I'm not saying Putin's an angel by any means, but he's not expanding. He's trying to stabilize Russia, which they don't like. If they were strong like China, they'd be bullying us like they're doing. So that's some of what we've got to break down. There is so much to go over. Gerald Celente is one of the top trends forecasters in the world, best-selling author, one of my favorite guys to interview, and one of the audience's favorite guests. I appreciate him coming on short notice today. I just wanted to get him to respond to all this. Trendsresearch.com. Gerald, I got to say you look very, very sharp today. You always look sharp, but I really like that style you're kicking today, my friend. Where would you like to begin? I mean, what we're seeing with Trump being seated, if they're this desperate, where are they going? The ambassadorship, the latest jihad attack?
Here's where I like to start. I like to start with Bill Clinton yesterday. Trump knows how to get angry white men to vote for him. I guess maybe he said that, Bill Clinton smoked, but he didn't inhale. Maybe he inhaled. Because this is from the Trends Journal, the current issue, when we reviewed the election. Trump received about the same number of white male votes as did Mitt Romney in 2012. So, Bill, That's why you got the name Slick Willie, because you and the rest of the prostitute media are putting out this lie. Here are the facts. They're all outlined in the Trends Journal, which you have. Remember, Trump got the same amount of white male voters as did Mitt Romney in 2012. We go on to say, despite Hillary Clinton playing the first woman to be elected president gender card, she received 2 million fewer votes from women than Obama did in 2012. I'm mentioning this, Alex, because everybody's playing that stupid.
Sure, the facts are the very same people that elected Obama elected Trump. They want change. They want a good economy. They don't want World War III.
You got it. So, but they're sending the propaganda that the Russians did it because maybe, it wasn't the Russians, because if the Russians only had Clinton, how come the Democrats got creamed in the House, lost the Senate, lost the state houses across the country?
Biggest state loss ever. 900 state seats lost.
Right. Had nothing to do with the Russians. It had to do with the traitor-in-chief, the guy that went around and campaigned.
Wait a minute. I burned my toast this morning, and the dog ate my homework back in 5th grade. You're saying that wasn't the Ruskies?
Again, it was the traitor-in-chief, Obama, who lied his way into the office, campaigned more than any other sitting president in modern history for Clinton, going around the country with that arrogant attitude about, hey, folks, you want to keep my folks, you want to keep my legacy alive? This is what they said to his legacy at the Senate, in the House, and all the legislatures. It had, again, those are the facts. So the people want to talk the Russian crap, and they want to talk about white male votes, just got rid of that one. Because here's another number. Remember, 2 million women fewer voters than Obama in 2012. More importantly, just 30% of eligible women cast their ballots for Clinton, compared to 47% who did not vote. Nothing to do with the Russians, and she's played the gender card, and the women said, because you saw the polls, 60% of the people that went to the polls thought that Clinton was untrustworthy and dishonest.
And by the way, let's go further, because I know you're going off their own mainline polls. They've been proven to add 7, 9, 12, 14, 15, on average about 9 points more for Hillary in all these polls, not just popularity polls, not just voting polls, but all these indexes. They've also been caught currently trying to hold down Trump's polls, even though they're actually rising. So the truth is, wasn't this a total repudiation of the mainstream media's credibility, which AP admits? Was it 6% pre-election? Might even be negative now?
It might be. Here, again, these are the facts, because everybody's glossing over it, and they give Slick Willie Clinton all this coverage.
Sure. So how do we counter the claim that it's a white lash, another attempt to race bait? What do we do?
Right, but again, well, you keep doing what we're doing, but again, here's the race bait card. You ready for this one? 2 million black voters who cast ballots for Obama in 2012, they didn't cast ballots for Clinton. So it has nothing to do with the Russians. It has to do with who they are. So what do? What we do is we have to keep calling out the fake media, because as soon as Trump got elected, the first day in USA Today, how could a sitting president who has 74 lawsuits against him go into the White House, or words to that effect? This was the coverage after Obama won. Look at the coverage.
And for radio listeners, it's the New Yorker with, because most of our audience is radio, we got to remind folks of that. It's Obama as George Washington. It's all positive. Obama's loving. He's good. He's an angel. And now the coverage is Trump's a demon.
That's it. Look at the hypocrisy of the media. I think maybe Obama's going to play Hamilton, huh? Yeah, he could probably pull that off. Got the wig. Yeah.
But wait, Gerald, I've got this super secret photo the CIA released to Obama. We're now releasing it. It's on screen for TV viewers, Infowars.com/show. Democrats got this secret photo of a room full of Russian hackers the day before the election. It's actually 50,000 Trump supporters filling a 50,000-person stadium. But that was all Russian hackers, Gerald.
Yeah. This is the hypocrisy of the media. This is the New York Magazine. All new. The truly radical politics of Barack Obama. Look at the hypocrisy of what the media did then and what they're doing now. So as we see it, this is going to be one of the biggest changes that we are going to witness in our lifetimes as far as politics. I want to put this into perspective because we just heard for what, a week and a half, watch out for the Electoral College. You've been covering it all. We don't need to go into the details. They did that for a week and a half. For 2 weeks, it's been the Russians are coming, the Russians are coming. Come January 20th, none of this is going to be important. A whole new direction is going to take place. Yes, there's going to be crying by the little liberals. They're not going to count. I have never been more positive, and I've been on your show for a decade at least.
It's at least, I looked it up, about 12 years.
Yeah. And people would say, oh, that's Celenti's a gloom and doomer. I was a gloom and doomer when the facts were there because here's the facts. Why did Trump win? We said why back in May. It's the economy, stupid. Since Obama's been in, 95% of the wealth has gone to the 1%. So, yes, that's why I'm negative.
And by the way, let me just say this because I'm on the same page. Just because of optimism, suddenly restaurants are up. Suddenly small shops are getting more business. Over $1 trillion has been added to the stock market. He's already bringing back all these massive jobs. Just on the confidence, it makes the world confident about us instead of just poo-pooing that we could ever have a future. We're America. That's still sexy all over the world. People want America to come back. They want America to be successful. They want the old America that people really did trust and really did like that you've been talking about. So people say, oh, Alex, you know, I thought the government's all evil. Suddenly you love it. No, I'm saying we've got a shot at trying to make it better again and not being the Legion of Doom. And it's very, very exciting. And Trump is already delivering, but he's riding a wave that you predicted 2 years ago, 3 years ago. Well, it was more than that. How many years ago was it you put out a special issue on nationalism, globalism in crisis in the next few years? And I'll be honest, Gerald, I said on air, I hope you're right because I thought you were being too optimistic. You saw it coming. Who else saw it coming? There was a few others. The former head of Black Ops for well, really CIA, not just State Department, but Steve Pachinik saw it coming 5 years ago. How did you see that coming?
Well, again, because of why the elections are going on around the world. The people are fed up with the elite.
Yeah, but you saw it before it happened. How many years ago was that?
Thanks. But, you know, it's how it worked. You know, so we try to look beyond what the people are saying and what they're feeling. So going back to what you were just saying, it's one of our top trends. Think of Trump's campaign slogan and why we are optimistic about the future. Make America great again. So one of our trends are true nostalgia. When was again? Look at the difference, for example. You know, as I mentioned to you on your show, it wasn't that only Clinton got beat. We saw Obama got beaten. Major media got beaten by Trump. The rappers got beaten, Beyonce, the entertainment industry, Hollywood, Silicon Valley.
They threw everything they could against us, and they lost.
That's right. They lost. Silicon Valley lost. Now, let's take Silicon Valley. With that arrogant attitude that they have, they know best, one thinking mind. Look at the way they dressed. Look at that Zuckerberg. He shows up all the time in a T-shirt. Look at the way the Trump children dress. Look at the way Trump puts out things. Go back to make America great again. Think of true nostalgia. Whatever you want to make it up in your mind, however you want to bring it back.
The 1950s 2.0.
Or whatever you want it to be. Elegance, grace, and style.
And you've always obsessed on if people don't dress nice and they don't care about their own environment, they don't care about you. And you're right. The slobbishness. Well, they declassified the CIA in the 50s and 60s, put out ugly art and ugly architecture to make us feel small and depressed. That's declassified. You've always harped on this, and now it's all admitted. That's a good point.
And now you have Trump presenting it. Look at his daughters. Look at his sons. Look at the way they show up. They're not like that. What I'm saying is for people that want to become entrepreneurs, seize the moment. make it new, make it old, retrofit it, do whatever you want.
It's energy.
To do.
It's a spirit we need.
Exactly. And that's what he's bringing back. But he's not talking about it. It's what he does. And a number of the people that he's bringing on with them live at that kind of lifestyle. So what we're saying as trend forecasters is for the people listening, for the people that want to move ahead, seize on what he's doing, play the Trump card. So, for example, let's say you want to make sneakers. Play the Trump card. Come out with made with pride in America, footwear, whatever, and then start running ads up where Nike is.
If everybody piggybacks on that, you'll have market dominance in just a couple years. Exactly. I mean, people ask why my show's so successful. People want Americana. They want success. And if you believe in it, humans can do anything. It's about confidence. And globalism was about austerity. We're poor. It's all over. Submit to it. Go away. You've got to be poor. I mean, it ought to be easy for us to beat these people if we simply deliver. And again, here's the problem. You're right about all this. I agree with you. A huge renaissance is coming back worldwide, not just Trump. He's just riding the wave. The globalists are going to strike back, Gerald. Look at their hysteria. I'm concerned in the next 30 days. What do you think?
You know, as I said, the next 30 days are important. But once Trump gets in, the whole scenario, what we're hearing now of all this worthless fake news is going to go away. But I want to make one point about playing the Trump card. If you look what Trump did, the first thing he did when during the campaign, he took out the top guy. He went over to Jeb Bush, put his hand on his shoulder on national television. Yeah, you're a nice guy, but you really don't have it. Boom, he knocked out one top guy after another. So when you're making Pride with America products, you're going to make footwear, start running ads up in Oregon and say, hey, Phil Knight, the guy with Nike over there, what are you getting your shoes made from slave labor workers over there? Bringing them back to America.
Just like he's shaming Boeing to moving a lot of Boeing back. Exactly. He's using that bully pulpit, and that's what he's supposed to do. Notice Obama said, oh, what do you have, some magic wand? And, of course, he did end up having a magic wand, didn't he?
We got to keep the show clean.
No, but what I'm saying is, exactly, I'm saying the magic wand is common sense, saying, hey, if China's got a 15% lower tax than we do, we've got to lower to that level, and then boom, the jobs come right back. This is not rocket science.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is for the entrepreneur to play the Trump card, you start going after the people that are importing all these crappy products, marking them up and becoming billionaires.
No, I agree. I mean, the plan was in the last few decades was just sell out America. Now the attitude is we're coming back. So it's that idea.
Exactly. So what we're saying is for people to seize on the opportunity. It's there. And Trump is showing it.
How do they say that in Latin? Carpe diem?
Yeah. Seize the moment.
All right. Now let me, because I skipped the break, I want to take a few calls here and get their ideas on how they think they may try to overthrow Trump before he even gets in. Look at all they've done. Past behavior is the greatest indicator of future performance or behavior. But I want to just cover a few other little tidbits quickly, boom, 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 with you from the Trends Journal, Gerald Celente, trendsresearch.com. What about the Fed? Obviously, they've kept interest rates low forever, but if they raise them, it's a problem if you do, it's a problem if you don't. But suddenly, because the economy heats up because of confidence with Trump, it's still in bad trouble. Suddenly, they want to raise them. What do you make of that?
I think they're going to raise them. The forecasts are now maybe 2 times more, and they have to come up. What it's going to do, it's going to hurt mostly the foreign countries because they borrowed all that money, the emerging markets, particularly China, in cheap dollars. So now they have to pay them back in dollars, but their currencies are going down.
And now notice the dollar's strong again. It's like a magic switch got thrown when Trump got elected because I guess it signaled we're not laying it down anymore.
Yes. And again, look at the people he's bringing in for negotiating, whether it's Wilbur Ross, Mnuchin, Tillerson. I mean, these guys, look at the experience that they have.
Yeah, folks are saying, oh, more rich people. It's not rich people that stole the money at hedge funds or whatever. It's people that actually are the best salesmen in the world that have connections everywhere. I mean, they say Rex Tillerson is the genius choice.
Again, if they do what they did for their businesses, for we the people, this is the kind of guy I would want to hire. And in all that they have,
we shouldn't just hire more lawyers that never did anything?
Yeah, right. Or a politician. By the way, I think politicians should be banned from running for office. These people never work a day in their lives. By the way, guess what Rex Tillerson is? He's an engineer. That's it. He started in Texas at oil wells. Now he runs one of the biggest corporations in the world. Everybody loves him all over the planet. And they are so scared right now because they know what this lineup means. Trump is about to just absolutely dominate bringing jobs back. And again, that's the plan that I was told about even beforehand, which is pretty much the Americana plan. But now it's in, of course, in the whole plan that was put out in the Hollywood Reporter article with Stephen Bannon, his chief advisor. They know the leftists plan to make everybody poor to control them. They plan to bring in so much wealth that even the poorest people see such big results that they basically turn against collectivism forever. They're attempting to kill communism, but actually deliver the plan at the end of Lenin of the state withering away. I mean, that's pretty hardcore. Alex, this is the time for America to become a self-sustaining economy. We're 320 million people strong. We could make 98% of all the clothes we bring into this country is manufactured overseas. And people say, well, you can't do manufacturing. Oh, yeah, I think there's this country called Germany, and about 25% of their GDP or thereabouts is from manufacturing, and only 11, 12% in the United States. Oh, they can do it, we can't. Oh, and those manufacturing jobs pay so much higher wages. So what I'm saying is that everybody out there that wants to take your life into your own hands, if you believe you have the skills and the products, now is the time. And Gerald, what you're saying is so powerful. What you're saying is so powerful. Forget Trump, whether he delivers or not. We can deliver with the whole message Gerald's been preaching forever that's pure Americana. And Gerald's been preaching it for 20-plus years. We're going back to Gerald and a few of your calls from Andrew, Jeremy, Trevor, Jesse, Justin, and others. But before we do, remember today is the last day in the lower 48 because now the Postal Service can deliver by Saturday today to get stuff before Christmas. We've been hacked. We've been attacked. We need the funds. But we've got great discounts, free shipping store-wide, up to 50% off a lot of the items like colloidal silver and other great products. We do have, of course, the Made in America toothpaste with the colloidal silver. And, of course, it's also got the iodine in it. We've lowered the price back down to $9.95 because folks liked it so much at that. But we have it where you can also support us and get it for $14.95 and help fund the operation. But it really is special toothpaste. It's amazing. Developed by my dad, a retired dentist and oral surgeon. Nobody else has got it with colloidal silver and the iodine. It's amazing. It turns blue. It goes from white to blue because real iodine isn't red. It's blue, and it turns blue in the oxygen. It's amazing. InfoWars, store.com, InfoWarsLife.com, or call toll-free 888-253-3139. If the store is blocked because of massive communist Chinese hack attacks, you can always call toll-free 888-253-3139. Let's jam in some calls here. Andrew, what do you think about all they've done to try to block Trump? Will they try to pull something now in the last 30 days before he's president?
Hello?
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's a real honor to talk to you and Mr. Salente. I just wanted to ask you, do you think they're going to try and use this thing with Russia to start a war and get in martial law, or is this kind of like a hostage taker pointing a gun at their own head and being like, oh, shoot?
Well, sure. I mean, that's a great question. I mean, don't you think that's what the Russians think? It's what everybody else thinks, that this whole assassination of the Russian ambassador is trying to stir up something in the last 30 days with Russia?
Okay, well, it is. But people that are concerned about a coup, we talked about the people that Trump brought in on the economic end. How about all the generals he brought in? I think that they're planning ahead of time and being proactive in his choices just in case they try to do something to disrupt him getting into office or trying to get him out.
Yeah, this isn't boasting. I'm going to just tell the fake left and all you guys want to have some civil war and you got the cop killers out running around and stuff. If you really try martial law, the entire military is just waiting. And then you're going to be in a lot of trouble. And I guess that's what Gerald's getting at, right, Gerald?
Yeah, look at the people that he's picked in his cabinet. You get all these generals, and you have guys that really know the score.
That's right, so Andrew. Yeah, they're pretty freaked out. They know all those generals are listeners. I mean, not just Flynn, folks. Andrew, we appreciate your call. Great points. Jeremy and others, we're back in 70 seconds, a few more minutes with Gerald Salente, then Roger Stone. Roger Stone's coming up. Matt Bracken's coming up. Paul Watson hosts the 4th hour from London. Such an important hour because you get a lot of the news in that hour, not just my babble. David Knight and others host it. I want to go to more calls here. Let's talk to Jeremy in Texas. What do you think's coming next as a distraction or a way to try to derail Trump?
Alex, I think ultimately the Federal Reserve is going to dump the dollar. I believe the recent DDoS attack on INFOWAR was a shot heard around the world, and it is a warning shot to warn everybody that we can, in fact, shut down the American grid with a DDoS attack. That's what I'm thinking in a nutshell, and it really comes down to the economic power shifting. I believe that the elite want to bring order out of chaos naturally, so they've lost total control, and they want to hedge everything on chaos. In fact, the FEMA and NASA have been meeting recently in Southern California over potential asteroid strikes.
Oh, they're saying a huge earthquake's way overdue in California. It's hit everywhere on the Great Ring of Fire except there, and it's supposed to be like an 8 or at 7.8 next time it hits, it's estimated. But you know, you're right. They're betting everything on chaos, but the momentum is against them. I appreciate your call. By the way, folks, INFOWAR is, in the top 100 websites in the world. The issue is we have one of the biggest companies in the world that does MasterCard, Visa, you name it. They said, don't worry, we flipped on systems that, state sponsors will have trouble bringing down. Well, they brought it down again. So it was sophisticated, massive, quadruple-pronged, and went over 4 days, and I'm sure it'll hit again. Gerald Celente.
Yes, and I want to urge everybody listening to support INFOWARS. Buy the products that they're selling. They're made in America. They're made with quality and pride. And the major media is doing everything they can to sell this lie of fake news when they are the greatest purveyors of it. So really, put your money where your mind is and make this happen, because now is our time. And as someone once said, it does not take a majority to prevail, but rather an irate, tireless minority, keen on setting brush fires of freedom in the minds of men, Samuel Adams. So everyone out there, do what you can to make all this happen, because, the negatives are there, eliminate them. Let's hit the positives. And the positives are we the people. And now has never been a better time. As for the dollar, I think it's going to continue to get stronger. You look at the yuan, they have this is where I disagree with Trump, by the way. The Chinese are not devaluing their currency. They're doing everything they can trying to prop it up. They just had $70 billion worth of outflows.
Well, I agree, but it's still a paradox, because when it goes low, it still hurts our manufacturing, but they've so overprinted that it's kind of it's damn if you, damn if you don't, but I think you're right. Real quick, Trevor in Wyoming, I know this is a question you don't want. What's your question or comment for Joe Celente? Go ahead, Trevor.
It would be about China stockpiling silver and gold over the past decade, and to that same line of thinking is, if they do crash global markets, will they then go to a gold or silver-backed currency that, being that China and India have been buying it up, that they're ultimately going to hold the lion's share? And
we're almost out of time. Sorry to get you guys in short. Real quick, Gerald, answer to that?
Yeah, well, again, China's reserve currencies are down 20%. The people are buying gold. They've driven Bitcoin up 34%. So you go to where there's India, China, they all want gold, but the governments are trying to stop them from buying it because they know how worthless their currencies are. But regardless, there'll be ups and downs, but the long term, we still see gold as a safe haven, and China and India is the biggest buyers.
It's definitely an interesting time to use a Chinese proverb. Thank you, Gerald Celente, trendsresearch.com. Stay with us. Roger Stone straight ahead. We've seen the entire media establishment do everything they could to defeat Trump, to lie about him, to call him racist, a homophobe, then a Russian agent, a rapist, all of it fake. And now he got the 270, well past it, 300 plus, with the electors yesterday. We're 30 days out from the January 20th Friday event that'll happen in D.C. And my question is, what will they try to pull now, or what to look for now from the man, Roger Stone, former head of the Trump campaign, and obviously good friends with Trump, former wingman of Trump, who never tells us anything Trump told us, just tells us what we should look for coming up in the future. So he's with us for one segment. He's been up writing. He's a little bit under the weather, but he's here to celebrate with a victory lap the fact that we got the election, and now he's gotten the delegates, and all the sabotage failed. So congratulations, Roger Stone, and also to all the listeners for taking action. We're the winners in the uphill battle in the election of the century.
Alex, it's great to be with you today. I got a little bout of food poisoning, but delighted to say that I have rallied. As you know, I'm kind of hunkered down trying to finish the manuscript for my book, The Making of the President 2016, How Donald Trump Orchestrated an American Revolution. But you're exactly right. The coup d'etat has fizzled. All that Sturm und Drang about the electors and the harping on the popular vote, then the completely phony $3.5 million recount in Wisconsin, which produced nothing but a slight gain for Donald Trump. And then there was this assault on the electors. Electors threatened with murder, threatened with violence, threatened to be destroyed. And they picked up one electorate. So the score is, I would say, David Brock is now 0 for 2. And if I were George Soros and I had laid out $300, $400 million, I would want my money back.
You know, I don't normally make fun of people's appearances, but he looks like some kind of weird poodle dog or something with that fake Einstein hair. He just looks like the biggest phony intellectual dumbass the world has ever seen. This is the supposed brainiac. I mean, the guy's a complete joke. He thought demonizing Trump with Alex Jones would make people turn against Trump, when all it did was give Trump that allure of true revolutionary sexiness.
Yeah, it was an entire miscalculation. Somehow the idea that if you smeared Roger Stone, if you smeared Alex Jones, if you smeared the other so-called deplorables, that would elect Hillary Clinton and erase her various warts and blemishes, which are obviously quite substantial. And they thought kicking you in their internal memos and video that we've caught, the MVP off Fox, CNN, MSNBC, officially banned for the last year and a half, that only made you focus on the new media more and made you even bigger. So it's so funny. They thought they took you out of the game. Well, and the irony here now, Alex, is that we're fighting over so-called fake news, because I've been subjected to fake news 3 times in the last week. First, John Podesta wrote in the Washington Post that I tipped Donald Trump off to Russian hacking by WikiLeaks, a total and complete falsehood. Then the White House press secretary attacked me by name, suggesting yet again that I told Donald Trump in advance of some Russian hacking. That's twice. And now, frankly, with some fulfillment, PolitiFact comes forward and they admit yesterday, no evidence whatsoever of Russian hacking. Now, that's the fake news. We are the real news, which is why I urge people to go to the INFOWAR site and sign the petition now to make sure the president understands we don't need a civilian censorship board secretly run by the CIA to decide what is and is not real news.
And by the way, I need to call Bannon and people. I've been too busy. We've mailed the 100,000 signatures that we printed up so that they physically see them to Trump Tower. So I hope that isn't taken as a giant, you know what, in the punch bowl. But obviously Trump wants to support the free speech and the independent media that helped get him elected. We're also going to then mail it on to Congress and onto the Congress folks, obviously as a stunt to show what's happened. But people can sign the next wave of the petition that we're going to deliver as well at Infowars.com/newsletter. There's the main newsletter, then there's also the free speech coalition we founded. But wow, so they've graduated from getting caught lying and having no credibility to openly wanting to shut us up. And even Matt Taibbi, the Rolling Stone, said this is worse than McCarthy. I mean, these people are crazy. How do you expect this to play out, Roger?
Yeah, no, Alex is exactly right. This is the new McCarthyism. In other words, if you're not for war over Syria, presumably with the Russians, then you must be a traitor to the country that you love. You must be a spy for Putin. It's ironic, is it not, that their whole meme was exactly the same before the election as it is after the election. You can go to look at back-to-back Washington Post analysis pieces. Before the election, Podesta says Stone is a Soviet spy. After the election, he essentially says Stone is a Soviet spy. It was a lie then. It's a lie now.
The great part, though, no one buys it. It's a huge joke. All over the internet, the memes are incredible. No one buys it. No one.
No one, though, is worse than John Brennan, the CIA director. First of all, I believe that he is an Islamic sympathizer. I think that he has been a great proponent of the Muslim Brotherhood. He refused to use a Bible to be sworn into his august office. Many people in intelligence believe that he has himself converted to Wahhabism. By the way, he was also predicting that the Russians would hack the election before the election. Now he's saying it again. That's because Clapper and these others, Dr. James Clapper, who runs Defense Intelligence, pointed out that the CIA had no evidence. That's why Brennan had to jump back in and said, oh, yes, we do. But he doesn't. He needs to go. The instant Donald Trump is elected, he needs to go.
Well, absolutely. He is going to be gone, gone, gone. In the time we have, I want you to rest and get back to the book. But looking at this, obviously, what else do you think's on POTUS's 45's radar screen? What are other big issues we've got to look out for as far as appointments? Other dirty tricks you think they might pull to keep him from getting in there? Obviously, they're going to want a bunch of hysteria at the inauguration. But it seems like American people, as his poll numbers only go up, get now how pathetic all this is.
Well, two things, Alex. One, a major story in New York Magazine on the case for impeachment of Donald Trump. Now, I guess that this is an admission that they're not going to stop his being sworn in. So therefore, the drumbeat for impeachment over some imagined or manufactured ethical issues appears to me to be afoot. We also now have a claim of Trump saying racially inappropriate things prior to an Apprentice taping. Let's wait and see if there really is a tape. We heard this canard before, during the election. But they're going to continue to try to delegitimize Trump in any way possible.
Sure, and it's not vindictiveness. He's got to go on the offense against the Clintons and all these people that really got money from Russia, or they're never going to stop. I mean, the thing is, he can't just be nice. They're not going to go away.
Well, plus, at the same time, we have our internal battles. So I read a piece that astounded me in Newsmax the other day that the chairman of the Council on Foreign Relations, Richard Haass, was destined to be the #2 man at the Trump State Department. Let me just say for the record, don't bet the ranch.
And you've said that about Romney as well. I know you just imagined it yourself. Trump was never toying with him like a cat with a mouse. I love the photo of him at Trump Tower, though, having dinner with Priebus and Romney, and he looks like the cat that just ate the canary, that very cat-like face on Trump.
Alex, I have an instinctual belief that Richard Haass is not going to get this job and that Donald Trump is not going to elevate the head of the CFR to anything. You know, when I spoke to him last, I can divulge this, I said to him, you've got an awful lot of guys from Goldman Sachs. And he said, yeah, you know why? They're really, really smart guys. But if anybody doesn't think I'm making policy and they're carrying it out, they don't understand why I hired them. So
are you breaking that here? That is major news.
Yeah, this is, he's in charge here. There's no question about it. And he is seeking out extraordinarily capable people. Nobody ever said the guys at Goldman are dumb. They have made billions for their clients.
Trillions. I mean,
but
over
the
last 100
agenda
years.
is very clearly Trump's.
Let's add to this. You know, I gave the analogy, and the media made jokes about it, saying Alex Jones is worried about Trump and goblins. No, I said, let's say he's in Lord of the Rings, and he's got to go into a goblin's nest. There's like kind of a goblin aide like Gollum that's going to lead him in. It doesn't mean that he gets in bed with a goblin. Doesn't mean he marries a goblin or has babies with goblins. He's going to have some Reince Priebuses, Gollum-like creatures and other goblin-like creatures that are from Mordor. They're going to have to lead him around and show him how to get stuff done, where the keys are, where the torches are, you know, how to get stuff done. And so that's what we see. And we see him now delivering on his agenda and bringing in outsiders like Rex Tillerson who is from the corporate world, getting stuff done from the real world, not the fictional world. And that's really scaring the power structure.
No, I think Trump is intent on recruiting men and women whose focus has been making a profit for their business or for their customers. Someone who is bottom line oriented, because of course, no one in government cares about the bottom line, ever.
Let's expand on this in the few minutes we have left with Roger Stone, who is writing his epic book. I've already ordered 10,000 of them. That's how big I think this book's going to be, ladies and gentlemen. We normally order like 500 of a book, okay? So this is going to be huge. Believe me, I've already been able to see some of it. It's going to be total inside baseball, stuff you're not going to learn anywhere else. And he's only finishing it in the next week or so, so you'll get right up until now. Now, obviously, you've talked quite a bit to POTUS, and I'll just leave it at that, or President-elect 45. What else can you impart to folks? Because I have Vice here. They've asked me twice. What about Goldman Sachs? What about Goldman Sachs? You say Goldman Sachs is bad. I say, wait, I have Nomi Prinz on, who's a former managing director. She exposes the globalists. They get the brightest people. It's the biggest brokerage bank, state loaning bank in the world. Obviously, they've got the good, the bad, and the ugly. I don't like the heads of it, like Corzine and others, giving to gun control, giving to carbon taxes. I'd love to have Trump make them reform themselves, which the president could do. Obviously, if you're going to get the top banking people, that's who you get to then make them carry out his will to make America great again. Now, if I see gun control or globalism, then I'm going to go completely crazy. But so far, we don't. And you haven't even told me that, and that's amazing, this new info that he explained himself on that, saying they're going to do my will, they're going to carry out my agenda. So please elaborate.
Well, Trump has, throughout his entire career, been a very good judge of character and selected exemplary people to work for him. And then he backs them up and gives them their head. This is the way he's always operated in business, and it's worked very well for him. At the same time, making it clear that the agenda is his, that the objectives are his. And I think that's exactly what we have here. Meanwhile, he is now in Palm Beach, playing a little golf, getting some well-deserved R&R, but still working every day. He is, I think, was really pumped up about his trip to Alabama and the terrific outpouring there. We are looking at the inaugural with some excitement. I don't know if you know this, Alex, but the Deplorable, which was originally scheduled for the Clarendon Ballroom in Roslyn, Virginia.
It got canceled, and they even have copies of the fact.
It has now been resurrected at the National Press Club, a larger and better venue. We can accommodate 1,000 people. I will definitely be there. Alex, I'm inviting you. This is where the Patriots.
I know. I wasn't going to go. I'd kind of decided a week ago not to go just because it's just I like to be in Texas. I like to be separate from D.C., but I think I've got to go to the Deplorable. I know I've been invited to some other, obviously, big functions, but my place would be out there in the crowds battling the communists. But I got to be honest with you, I get sick of battling the communists. You know what I mean?
Well, there's something to be said for, camaraderie with your fellow patriots. Because those
I know. Absolutely. And there are some lovely patriots as well.
And those who've been in the vanguard of the Trump campaign will be at the Deplorable because we can't afford the $25,000 a ticket events for the inaugural committee. So this is really the people's inaugural event. And if we're fortunate, some members of the Trump family may drop by. So I really urge you to make it.
I'm going to be there, Roger, and I'm going to be there. But I was going to try to leave folks in suspense, but I just can't miss it. Now, I'm going to let you go. I appreciate your time. Get some rest. I mean, I know you're texting me at 4 a.m. and you're texting me at 6 a.m. and you're working like 20 hours a day, 18 hours a day. How soon till the big book's done?
Well, I'm supposed to turn in a manuscript on Christmas. Then I've got to do some editing with an idea to get it out the door by January 1st. Realistically, would like to make it for the inauguration. That's what it's currently scheduled. Still shooting for that, but remains to be seen. I just would like to be first. This book will be historic. You're going to learn things you cannot learn anywhere else about what really happened here. And this book will be popular with some people and not so popular with others. I don't want to mention any names, John Podesta, but there are people who aren't going to like this book, Ted Cruz. And then there's some people who are going to hate this book, Huma Abedin. So stay tuned.
All right, and you always got such breaking news. We're going to Matt Bracken here on the Islamic attacks in Europe and more, but you've always got such other big, juicy exclusives. Any other juicy exclusives for us?
I'm going back to the boards here, Alex, and do some writing, but there'll be plenty of revelations in the making of the president, and I thank you for ordering 10,000 copies.
And by the way, we're live, and I'm not going to break, so I won't be able to talk to you till tonight. You'll probably be sleeping. Are we still planning on what we're planning next week?
We are, and I will be with you tomorrow, I think, in 2 segments. So I look forward to seeing you tomorrow.
All right, we'll talk then. Thank you. I'll see you. Bye. Lots of stuff going on behind the scenes. All right, there goes Roger Stone from StoneColdTruth.com. We're getting Matt Bracken on the line right now via video Skype as well to get some more hardcore Islamic attack news and some more of your phone calls for Danny and Ryan and Amy and Rebecca and Rich and folks that are patiently holding. Briefly, I get so carried away, I don't even plug my sponsors. I want to plug Solutions for Science and Amerigeddon, but I need to get the copy on that. Great folks as well. But we also fund ourselves independently here internally. And we bring in a lot more revenue when we discount stuff. That's why I already try to price stuff without a huge amount of profit. It's not that profit's bad, but I want you to get a good value at a good price. So it's competitive, it's high quality, and so you get a big effect. So that's why we're doing this. And I just want to encourage all of you to take advantage of nutraceuticals that have changed my life and are just simply amazing. X2, having the good iodine in my body, has totally changed my life. Having Super Male Vitality has completely changed it. The stamina, the libido, the energy, the Parasite Cleanse, Natural Defense, the other products, the Oxy Powder, all of it are just the very best products out there. We go out and private label the already best products, best sellers out there that are the highest quality, and then discount them. Or we go out and develop our own systems like DNA Force, Lung Cleanse, and so many other products. Secret 12, Biome Defense are incredible. I mean, it's the very best. We have it in 250 billion cultures and 250 and 500 billion cultures, 2 different bottle sizes at InfoWarsLife.com. Prostagard, just all of it, bone, joint support. InfoWarsLife.com. Free shipping, 50 to 30% off across the store. Hillary for Prison 2017 with George Soros as a goblin, saying deport him on the back. We've almost sold out of the Trump is my president red shirt. We've also got the new shirt, Republic Defense Force Citizen Press shirts. I haven't even talked about those new shirts that just came in, and so much more. We have an entire Made in America line of apparel where it costs us like $10 to $15 a shirt that we sell for $25. Or I can just pay for $3 from a shirt from Mexico and sell it for $15 or $9.95. I mean, people just choose the stuff from Mexico or wherever. That's fine. We give you the choice. InfoWars Store.com or call toll-free 888-253-3139. That's 888-253-3139. And again, my friends, we're under attack. A lot of folks would bitch and complain about it. I'm very proud of the fact we have the entire state-run media attacking us, foreign media attacking us, the EU saying shut us down and block us, the communist Chinese attacking us. I mean, this is epic. This is legendary. We've gone from being huge to just gigantor in our footprint of resistance. We're still a tiny organization. The amount of funding we bring in for an organization this powerful is small. We're huge successes at reaching people, gigantic failures at raising capital. But we're still kings of raising capital in a system where the big corporations don't give sponsorship to anybody that supports freedom, that supports justice, that supports sovereignty, and who isn't, quite frankly, evil. So we direct sale products to you because we couldn't expand just off the small sponsors we had. I'm also very picky about sponsors. So, again, we've been direct selling videos, books, things, that I've produced and written for 20 years. But I've moved into other great products and things, and we've really created a model here that everybody else is trying to copy. And I'm not bragging. That's the most sincere form of flattery. I was on national private Russian libertarian TV that's on all over Russia with 40 million viewers a day today for an hour. And I was realizing when I was on the show, there was like famous Russians were on the show, like advisors to Putin, you name it. And I was sitting there going, oh, yeah, I know these guys. And they were there thanking me for the model and thanking me for, changing the world paradigm. And it wasn't about my ego, but it was surreal to go, I better do a better job. Because, see, I hate people thanking me because I'm sitting here thinking how I stumble, how I gibber, how I get obnoxious, but people see the sincerity. And for whatever reason, we're kicking butt globally. This message, 1776 worldwide, isn't about America and some conquest of other countries. It's about an idea of the Renaissance that came out of America going global to defeat collectivism. Say what you want about America. We are the kings of free market Renaissance in our heyday. We want to bring that back because it's back to the future. Yep, but through the storm, we come out on the other side. Blood on her hands. Drudge always knows how to boil it down. Berlin Market massacre. Ex-Nazi airport becomes refugee camp. This is war, says member of their parliament, says they're under Islamic attack. But we see the leading candidate in the polls for the new president or prime minister of the Netherlands being convicted. What was it, 2 weeks ago? Geert Wilders, for simply saying, bringing in these Moroccans and people, the crime rate's going up. They've ordered in the Netherlands, in Sweden, and in Deutschland to cover up crime statistics that almost all rapes are by the Islamists. Because in their culture, if a woman's not covered up, they're fair game. Then if you rape her, she goes to prison. Again, this is everything that Matt Bracken has predicted. If you go to INFOWARS.com, we have Paul Watson's boil down and breakdown of this. Now, notice, first they said it was just a truck, it was an accident running over Christmas trees, and 60-something people critical and 12 dead. We had 80-something dead in Nice and hundreds injured. They tried to cover that up as well. Like San Bernardino shooting people in front of the Christmas tree. The husband and wife, the FBI knew, was ordered to stand down 2 years before. They were going to the Middle East, going to Saudi Arabia, going to Pakistan for training. It's incredible. You go to Pakistan for training, you're a jihadi, you're on your Facebook talking about how you like ISIS, we're going to kick your ass out of the country. If you weren't natural born, I think we should strip your citizenship. You're a jihadi anchor baby, we want to throw you and your family out of here back to one of the hellholes you came from, where you're all killing each other. I am sick of this. Political correctness is not a suicide pact. So while Bracken's talking, we're going to show you what the media doesn't want you to see. Oh, they'll show you fake violence or occasional rare right-wing violence all day. But they don't want you to see the Islamists running over people with trucks and all the rest of it. Just like this guy up in Ohio tried. When the cop shot him with the Somali stabbing people, the media said it was racist. So CNN called the act of terror a truck crash again yesterday. That was going on. Berlin truck attacker identified a 23-year-old Pakistani refugee they found with blood all over him. But now they say they don't think it's him and released him. Because like I said, bring down Merkel. So there'll be a catch and release thing now. I mean, I'm not saying he's 100% guilty. That's just who the witnesses said and everybody, and he's all bloody. And reportedly, they said pulled out of the truck. But you know what? I'm sure the truck's Megatron. It did it on its own. How low can you go? Ukrainian PM calls Russian ambassador's murder a hero. That's who Soros has installed in the Ukraine. CNN, again, responds to Islamic terror attack in Berlin by blaming conservatives. We didn't kiss their butts enough. We told them not to poop in the pool. These are Merkel's deaths. German MEP blames chancellor for refugee attack. Fake news. New York Times claims self-driving truck kills 9 in Berlin. Yeah, even though it wasn't true. They just make crap up. This is the enemy media. Merkel's open door policy blamed for Berlin truck attack. German state minister, we're in a state of war. The interior minister of the German state of Saarland said Tuesday Germany is in a state of war after a man drove a truck into a crowd in Berlin Christmas market, killing 12 people and injuring 48, and suspected terrorist attack. Beautiful carols, beautiful lights, beautiful trees. A cultural event, running over people. And oh my gosh, the left, Obama came out after the Ohio attack and said, don't blame Islam. Yeah, don't blame a Somali who was here illegally, who pledged allegiance to Al-Qaeda and ISIS. Why do they hate us so much? Why is the left allied with them? And now that Trump got the electors, 303 yesterday of 270 he needed, more people went against Hillary than went against him. Notice how it backfired. Another repudiation of these people. They don't care. I don't think they're going away. I think they're going to plan something else. Let's get Matt Bracken's take on all this. Former Navy SEAL, best-selling author, who I didn't even know about until about a year and a half ago, who got highly recommended by some of my Pentagon sources. And by the way, I can pick the phone up and call current high-level CIA, current Pentagon. I can pick up the phone and I'm not going to brag here. The media goes crazy with it. Everybody knows who I can talk to, who I do talk to. Okay? And let's just say the reason they talk to me is because they know who I talk to. And I've just been basically told that I've been adopted as the mouthpiece of what's really going on. I'm not told what to say. I know what's going on. Okay? I'm not bragging. I'm telling the listeners, you need to understand, the good news is we'd already be in martial law if it wasn't for about 90% of the military being awake. And Trump, you notice, put all these generals in knowing they're planning a coup once he gets in or before. So people are going to say, oh, you're going to back fascism by Trump? Well, if they try to blow up the White House or something and he arrests a bunch of people, that's not fascism. We have the tyranny in our country. We're going to have to remove it. I don't want to arrest thousands of these people, but they're seditious. They're not going to stop. They're calling for killing the president-elect. I say arrest every damn one of them and charge them. If I called for killing the president, they'd arrest me, and they should. Matt Bracken, I mean, people need to understand, from my view, we're in the middle of a civil war still. What do you say?
Definitely, and it's a dangerous time. We did hold off their electoral coup. It even blew back on Hillary, where she lost more electoral votes than Trump did. But they won't give up. They never quit. You know, this is the red-green alliance. This is Islam and the left allied against civilization. We see it starkly in Germany. Even now, you know, they are afraid to name what it is, which is Islamic terror. Something that all Muslims need to know, all the quote-unquote moderate Muslims. People aren't stupid. Even though the mainstream media portrayals might make it sound like we're blind and stupid, we understand there's no protesting going on. Millions come out to protest against Muhammad cartoons. They don't come out to protest against slaughter in the streets. And the way that I look at it, the only difference between the moderate Muslims and the radical Muslims is that the moderate Muslims are just demographically planning to take over, as the radicals, you know, are sort of the bad cop in a ongoing good cop, bad cop routine. The bad cops are blowing up buildings or, you know, driving over people with trucks. And then we're told, don't make the good Muslims mad, just give them a little bit more. So what we're seeing now is the extinguishing of Christianity in Europe. You think there are going to be these Christmas festivals in Europe outside anymore?
And notice the leftists then are all trying to sue and ban Christmas trees. They say don't even hand out Christmas cards, which is your First Amendment. They're now saying don't even use holiday in the colleges. The left is synced up trying to extinct Christianity.
Well, this is and this is the meaning of Islam. It's not peace, it's submission. Islam means submission. You'll get peace, theoretically, after the entire world has submitted to Islam, which I don't plan to do. You know, the other attack, though, I would like to mention a minute, the other attack in Ankara, the policeman in his suit with his ID and his, you know, service pistol. I think that's got the elites way more freaked out than what happened at the Christmas fair in Berlin.
Well, Russia thinks it's a false flag to try to, and my word from a high-level Pentagon source last week, and I went with it on air, is they're going to try to escalate the Syria thing before Obama leaves, and that really try to start a bombing war against Russia. They're hoping they retaliate. The word is, and Russia said this, they're going to lay back and wait till Trump gets in. What's your intel?
Well, I just want to continue on this thought about this assassin that's up on the screen right now. When the elites are worried, they're not worried about us getting run over in streets or blown up in a cafe. They could care less. We're the peasants. We're outside of the green zone. You know, we're living out in the hinterland in the you know, Westworld. They're living inside of the protected perimeter. So when somebody in a suit and tie with a clean-shaven face walks up and shoots a tier 1, you know, ambassador in the head, that gets their attention. I'll call people's attention also back to previous assassinations by security. Indira Gandhi was killed by a security guard. Anwar Sadat was killed by soldiers that jumped out of a truck during a pass-in review. So, you know, the elites, they start to freak out when they see their own security agents assassinating them from behind, because they're all surrounded by security that they think they can trust.
I mean, it's normally your security. People always ask, why don't I get security? And I said, it's usually your security that kills you. That's what people contract with to kill you.
Yeah, and yeah, they're not in all cases, but I mean, they are susceptible to being paid by the highest bidder.
Well, look at RFK. I mean that was some of the security killed him there in L.A. Absolutely. But what do you think the overall message is? I mean, the jihadis, I guess, I mean, as you said, they're testing Merkel and others to make sure they sit there and cover up it's Islam. That's part of their deal.
Right. Well, if Merkel doesn't resign now, obviously she's never going to resign. If she's reelected, then put a fork in Germany. And as Germany goes, Europe goes. I wrote something for Gates of Vienna last year about hybrid vigor. I don't worry about Germans, but I worry a lot about Islamized Germans, super Germans. It was the Berbers of Morocco that invaded Spain after they were Islamized and had that convert zeal. It wasn't the skinny little desert Arabs. It was the Berbers of Morocco after they had become Islamized. I fear what will happen when Germans are Islamized. When all of these German lesbians are suddenly having 5 or 6 children, like it or not, that are going to be raised a Muslim. In 1 or 2 generations, Germany could become a powerhouse of Europe in a very bad way.
Well, by the way, Islam, we've got top imams saying it. We're going to take the women. We're going to make our new super Islam people. Ha, ha, ha. The men are pigs. They're cowards. They give us their women. They're so freaking arrogant.
Right. But there are heroes in Europe like Geert Wilders. And, he is very similar to Trump in this respect. He understands the media jujitsu. A year ago, people thought Trump was an idiot for, going face to face with the mainstream media in ways that weren't flattering to him, putting out tweets that people said were stupid or blunders. But he was appealing to Joe Blue Collar. He was appealing to middle America, and Geert Wilders is doing the same thing. So when these left-wing politicized judges in Holland convict Geert Wilders of saying nasty things about Moroccans, that just makes him more popular. So he's understanding this populist jujitsu the way that Trump did, the way that the left in this country is still trying to figure out. They're still trying to, go back to the old playbook. Let's blame it on the Russians or blame it on fake news. They still don't know what's hitting them. So there's still a lot of room out here for the populist jiu-jitsu experts. And I hope the best for Wilders in Holland. I think his election is in February or March. So we should see a very interesting 2017. And remember also, in Germany and across Europe, it's only because of luck and incompetence on the part of these terrorists that there aren't attacks like last night weekly. And there was a 12-year-old about a week ago who was trying to take a nail bomb into another festival. If that had gone off, it would have been another. By the way,
I was told by sources a year ago, it was Christmas again, and then also about 6 months ago, the Germans keep busting them with big plastic explosive bombs that somebody's giving them in ambulances and stuff, trying to get them into sporting events to blow up a whole crowd. And sure enough, then it came out in the news that they've busted other ones trying to blow up soccer events. So, man,
they're trying to. When they owned Mosul, they had a university in an oil region in northern Iraq, and for a couple of years they were churning out university laboratory level chemists trained in just one thing, making the peroxide explosive, so that they can then go to Europe and become teachers. If you know how to make the triperoxide formula, all you need to do is buy bulk stuff that you can buy at cosmetology stores and supermarkets and so forth, and you can make something as powerful as C4. That's what blew up the bus and the subway in London. And the train in Madrid. It's very powerful. It doesn't have a great shelf life. It's hard to work with, but it's extremely powerful. And they've got now, dozens, if not hundreds, of these chemists in Europe. And most of them.
Let me ask you this question: what is the master plan of the left to bring in 5 million of these people in Europe, hundreds of thousands here, not vet them, get them in as sleeper cells? Because from my study, they don't totally control the Islamicists. They have some control through rogue groups in MI6, the Israelis, and the CIA.
I think that they're evil, of course, but at the more naive ones might think that they're going to just ride the tiger of Islam and then in the wreckage of Europe establish communism.
Sure, they're just taking money from Saudi Arabia now because they can live in a bigger apartment or drive a Ferrari.
But the better example, the better paradigm is Carlos the Jackal, who actually wrote a biography from his prison in France, where he is converted to Islam. He was a communist Bader Meinhof type guy in the 60s and 70s. He converted to Islam, And he actually wrote a letter to President Obama, which was published, which is pretty amazing, saying that, only an alliance between the left and Islam will ever be powerful enough to destroy capitalism in the West.
Sure, let's be clear. The left hates their smartphones, their money, their great medicine, everything so much, and they love wearing Che Guevara shirts so much that they would ally with something that literally keeps women as animals, all because they have some weird hate of the West and some mental illness that was implanted in them. Where the hell does this come from?
But when it gets to nut cutting time, when it gets to head chopping time, history shows conclusively that these guys, like Carlos the Jackal, they take the easy way and convert to Islam. Because remember, if you're a totalitarian bastard and you're a man, Islam's not a bad deal. You get to beat your old lady, you get to rape children, marry your cousin's daughter who's 13 years old and beat her if she doesn't put out. I mean, so for an evil man, Islam is a pretty easy conversion from being an evil communist. Now, the commie women, they're the ones that are going to wake up in a burqa wondering what the heck happened to them. These German women that aren't making babies will be making babies whether they like it or not if, when Islam succeeds with their, 5 babies per woman birth rate compared to 1.1, which isn't replaceable.
How did the West teach suicide to its people? It's just crazy to watch.
Yeah, you have to go back to Antonio Gramsci and the Frankfurt Group and the who are the guys in England? Anyway, the communists of the early 20th century.
The Fabian socialists, all of them.
Fabians. It's going to be the long march through the institutions. That was the way that worked.
No, they said it. And they've conquered us, and now they just want to. The weird thing is, they took over. They run everything. Why would they want to then blow it up?
Well, they thought that they could establish communism, but as communism has been defeated and pushed back, the only thing that they've got left is this alliance with Islam. And this is a word of warning to women. The men who preach communism and pivot to Islam aren't going to see a big decrease in their lifestyle. They may have 2 or 3 women after that. The women who think that they're going to stick with communism are the real fools in this, because they're going to wind up in a harem wearing a burqa having 5 babies, like it or not.
I know, it's so crazy. And they'll only be allowed out if you're a piranha that worships it and helps keep the other women in line. You'll be kind of the house slave. We're going to break, come back, take a few final calls, and then 5 minutes the next hour, a few calls, and hand the baton to Paul Watson. And I said earlier, I will get into the big, white man's guilt secret. They're spinning this whole thing like, oh, minorities, it's your time to take over America, and you've got to be communist now or socialist. That's how you're rebellious. It's your country. Don't you want free market, right to self-defense, family? The globalists hate you. Adopt free market. Be wealthy. Be successful. Don't buy into the globalist paradigm. It's so incredible. All right, we got 2 more segments left, and Paul Watts is taking over from London, England. I just want to say this. The real discussion going on with white people that I know that are successful in business and life, most of them are married to somebody of another, quote, race, just a human race, and a lot of them are, is, whites are now 16th or 17th in mobility economically. Certainly you can say things were geared towards whites 50 years ago or whatever. But most white folks have gotten spoiled, or their kids are spoiled. That's why we're not upwardly mobile. It's Christian Lebanese or Chinese or whatever that you see at the top of the chart. But they sell this idea that white people existing is why you're poor, instead of wanting to find out why there was so much wealth and get involved in free market. And that's the establishment wanting a permanent underclass. And they write white papers on it, they admit it. And that's what's so dastardly about this, is they claim they want you to be successful, but they really just want to control you. And so now the discussions are, well, the white people didn't have kids and aborted all their kids. We really all need to really try, even though we're not in power, to try to educate people from the third world that never had this so the Americana future can go on. Because people always want to pass something on. It's like, to use the allegory of a fiction, the Gran Torino. He doesn't like his family, so they're all spoiled rotten brats, so he, gives his car away, to the kid he liked next door. And, it's kind of that way. You can inherit the West if you want it, but my God, let's not give it to radical Islam. Matt Bracken's our guest. We should also probably give you his website as well, enemiesforeignanddomestic.com. The Gates of Vienna also is another great site that his work appears on. You can find his books. Ryan in Wyoming, thanks for holding. You're on the air.
First of all, I just wanted to say I believe the answer is sovereign men and women and sovereign households becoming self-sufficient. And your store, your products, X2, water filters, everybody needs to get them. The point I wanted to bring up was the Tet 2 offensive. In December of 2015, there were hundreds of propane tanks that were stolen. Also at the same time, there were hundreds of cell phones that were sold. And I just wanted to get Mr. Brackens and
well, sure. Clearly, there are jihad bases all over the country as sleeper cells that I guess the left can just give its nod. And they'll start blowing stuff up as like the secret army. Then they bring in martial law afterwards. But if Obama's going to do that, he's got 30 days. Thank you for the call. Great point, Ryan. Mr. Bracken, what do you say to that?
Well, I can't rule anything out in terms of that timing. But, if an attack of sufficient magnitude happens even under President Trump, it really wouldn't be that much of a different outcome if there's, say, a grid attack, or even just a simple kinetic rifle attack against enough, power substations. Putting this country into a grid down scenario is going to be ugly no matter who's in charge. Same thing with crashing the economy. Some kind of a cyber attack that tanks out our banking system, destroys the EBT system. It won't matter if Thomas Jefferson or George Washington are in charge. There's not going to be an easy solution if the lights go out and our cities explode.
And Soros has doubled the amount of money to domestic destabilization operations, showing they're planning something big.
Right, and the media is going to continue to be their cheerleader. I mean, I'm watching the media, and the only time that you see anything like a hate crime are these fake hoaxes, the hoaxes, the hijab babes that always turn out to be hoaxes.
Every case of Islamists being attacked in America turns out to be fake.
But the media never shows that at all. Instead, they'll show some, frat brother alleged incident. Like
attacks on Islam at record levels. Yeah, exactly. It's totally sick. Well, they've been apologizing for the latest jihad attack.
But the thing is, their power is slipping. And, Drudge is right. You're right. Other people talking about this are right. The media is Julian Assange. He's certainly right.
He says they have less and less credit. I mean, they just have no pertinence. They just aren't even on the radar.
No. That's right. Your star is rising and theirs is slipping. They just don't know it yet.
It isn't a fun star to be rising, but we're doing our duty. It's the audience spreading the word, spreading the videos. People now realize. I mean, look, the globalists paint a total takeover of the country and basically re-education, telling us what words to use. So of course there was a resistance to that, and now, if the controllers want to go to the next level, my God, they are going to get their ass stomped. Back in 70 seconds, we're going to talk to a couple more callers here, Adam in New York and others with Matt Bracken. Then Paul Watson takes over from London. We are broadcasting on this original transmission in the 4th hour with Jesse James. This is not aired on the main show. It aired once live the day before the election, November 7th, with Jesse James. Obviously, the guy that was married to Sandra Bullock, the guy that had the big chopper shop and all the rest of it. He still does all that now, but not in California, since that collapsed the globalist. He does that right here in Austin, Texas. He had a lot to say about Trump, who he's good friends with. And it was Jesse years ago telling me how great Trump was. And I was like, really? He's a patriot? And he said, oh, yeah, watch. Trump's going to be, basically in public. You're kind of underground. He's going to take our message of liberty to the masses. And boy, was Jesse James right. So here's the start of this interview. We'll broadcast it throughout this hour. Let me tell you something. Trump's lost hundreds of millions in sponsorship, TV shows. He's gone through a lot. He's put so much on the line. He's the man in the arena. I'll tell you who else is the man in the arena. Jesse James. Known this guy like 5-6 years. We're not going to get into the details, but our kids are friends, hang out. The daughter just stayed at your house last night. So much is going on. We're we're parents in this fight. All this is going on. We're just regular Americans, and we as parents just want a free country. And you're the first person. I remember when it happened. Within minutes, it was like Jesse James endorses Donald Trump. So I know you guys are friends. Congratulations on being on the right side of history.
Thank you.
I'm wound up, as you can tell. But Jesse James, you're, behind the scenes, you're a pretty wild guy, but you're also pretty calm on air. Where should we go with this? I mean, why'd you back Trump? Where do you see this going? Second Amendment, you're launching a national gun group with him. How awesome.
Well, I think it, I don't know, when I sent him a note, I sent him a text when NBC cut him off when he decided to run for president. And he had, it's a hit show, 15, 20 million people a week watching The Apprentice or Celebrity Apprentice. and you know, it's lots of sponsorship, lots of product placement, endorsement deals, and he basically told NBC, "F you." You know, they're obviously, you know, as stuff transpired, you can see how twisted it is towards the left, and he. You know, and I told him, I said, "Hey, man, that was like an iron balls move to like do that, and you got my respect." And you know, just started talking with him, and I just felt compelled to. Everybody thought it was a joke. Everybody thought that he wasn't serious. It was like a publicity stunt. And when, you know, I just wrote a piece of like my personal point of view, like not my opinion, this is the person that I saw, and is this person cut out to be a president? And it you know, it was like 25 or 30, I don't even know how many it is now, but 20 or 35 million views on Facebook. And you know, it kind of was the first person to come out and endorse him. Hey, man, I have your back if you want to be president. He doesn't need I think what a lot of people miss is he doesn't need to be president, and he sure as hell doesn't need to go through the crazy amount of BS that he's had to go through. And you figure if anybody's going to walk through fire like that, and like he has been put under the microscope, that he must really, really love America and love this country.
Well, I took your endorsement because I know you're a real guy. People see TV, you're one of the top TV hosts of all time, probably one of the top, not Donald Trump. And you're a real guy. I'm not kissing your ass. It's true. And you haven't done reality TV in a long time because, as you pointed out to me, it's so much of it's garbage. It's fake. And here you are, we were talking like a year and a half ago, you know, no, Trump's for real. And I talked to other folks, they said, no, Trump's for real. And now you've seen it, what he's gone through, what he's done for us, our families, pointing out how we've been screwed over by special interests that have sold out the American dream because America was dominating the world. And so here we are, he's gone through all this, and now he bucked the system. He defeated the Republicans and the establishment, saying he couldn't win the nomination or that they would take it away. They failed. And now here he is in every poll now, even fixed polls, surging past Hillary Clinton. This is like beyond some football movie or something. This is beyond some Disney movie. I'm like pinching myself, Jesse James. Is this real? We'll be right back on the other side of this quick break with extensive excerpts of the hour-and-a-half live interview we did, again, on November 7th, 2016, which is pretty long in the tooth right now, with Jesse James. I'm Alex Jones. The news website you'll want to share, because they're trying to censor it, is INFOWARS.com. Stay with us. Well, I know one guy that doesn't like the New World Order, and that's why Hollywood and others have attacked him and lied about him, and that's Jesse James. And I was able to get him in studio the day before the election, and he talked about a whole bunch of stuff. I got the guy who's normally a man of few words to really open up about Donald Trump, the New World Order, and how he used to think I was crazy. Now he thinks I'm dead on. So here is the rest of the interview throughout this hour with Jesse James. I just talked to Jesse a few days ago. He wants to come back on probably after the new year and do a victory lap. Wow, we've never seen such exuberance. We've never seen such confidence. According to Gallup, they're calling it Trump-phoria. And it's because folks understand that globalism has kept us poor and has been dumbing us down to control us by design. And so we're going to cut these chains. Doesn't mean there's some panacea or some, Valhalla type, perfectly wonderful utopia that we're going to build. But it's going to be a lot better in a free society than what we see with the globalist and the authoritarian system they're building that is a dystopia. We can't have utopia, but we can certainly have something better than dystopia. Now, here's the interview with Jesse James. I only bring this up because it's totally organic. My daughter, your daughter, good friends. It's crazy. I'm not pushing Trump paraphernalia on them. I'm not saying do this or that political, and they're big fans of Trump for like over a year. And that's what I'm saying. Their other friends are Trump fans. That's got to scare the system. I talk to people with other kids at other schools. They go, no. We're talking 12, 13-year-old girls, kids, boys, 14.
We were at dinner tonight talking about they have, like, Hillary has some Snapchat filter app, and she was talking about how her and her friends at school, were doing the Snapchat filter, but acting like they're vomiting when they had Hillary's like, Hillary, like I'm with her. Like,
that's all over the web, yeah.
Yeah, and it's funny.
So what does that say if we pushed our kids to be for something they wouldn't do it? I never told them anything about Trump. I try to shield them. They're all Trump, Trump, Trump. I mean, And I know your daughter. So what does that say?
Well, kids are a lot smarter than, you know, I didn't know anything about politics when I was growing up. You know, my grandpa, like, okay, we're Republicans. And then my grandpa always watched nightly news and then read the paper. And that's how you got information. I think kids like have the world's biggest encyclopedia now in all their pockets. So they want to know something, they can find out.
Those damn phones,
and yeah, and it's crazy.
But there's something positive about it because...
Yeah, I think so. They're well informed and they're not going to just do what everybody tells them or spoon feeds them, you know?
Well, I don't want to build us
I have to be honest with you, though. I have to say this first and foremost. You know what? Because I'm friends with Dan Winters. You know, I'm the godfather of his son. And like, he had sent me videos. This is before I moved here full time. Oh, you got to check out this guy, Alex. I thought you were pretty crazy. like, you know, banks are poisoning our water and blah, 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 and all this stuff. And I was like, wow, this guy's a nut. And then I found out we live pretty close to each other. And then our kids hung out and stuff. And then this whole year has been like, wow, Alex is right on a lot of stuff.
Well, you're nice to say that. Listen.
So
thank you, brother.
There you go.
Dan Winters, the top photographer in the world.
Yeah. So
he loves you. I remember years ago he was taking some photos for some magazines. And listen, I wish I was wrong. The problem is I've read the crap. I do this all day.
All the stuff, you know, all the stuff that I could never wrap my head around.
It's like you're a motorcycle.
Well, I'm in the shop all day, so I can't watch TV while I work. So I listen to the radio. So I listen to your show. I was an NPR listener until like, you know, about a year ago when it's so heavily slanted to the left.
It is very slick and smooth.
When everything becomes so obviously.
By the way, can I just say this on air? You keep telling me. By the way, I'm not just doing this. Was not planned. Did we talk before this interview?
Nope.
Except like on like text messages.
Nope. You sent me the address.
I sent the address. I want you send me tempting me these guns, and then every time I try to buy one, you go, oh, sorry, it's sold. And I've learned from people, and I've been to your house several times. I've seen it. You are literally like Festus or Vulcan in these spacesuits with fire. I'm like 50 feet away, and there's these huge machines. I can't even go in there. And you're making all this stuff. There's no one there. Jesse James Firearms is you. And there's an assembly line of weapons.
Dave
no.
Is there too.
I mean, well, there's some people. But how are you? Let me tell you, that's so manly. Like, I remember my grandpas could like fix combines and do anything, and I like can't do electricity work. My dad. So how do you do it? How do you do it?
I made this one right here.
Well, listen, the ones you sent me with the little leaves and everything.
I forged that one.
Oh my God! Can I just please buy the next gun? I mean, look at this 45 911.
It's all Damascus. I forged all that. It's 1,026 layers on the side. And
no, this is beautiful. But that one you sent me with the leaves.
Yeah,
all the intricate
one.
Work.
Yep.
But the problem is you keep saying, yeah, I'll let you buy one, and then you never let me buy one. But the crazy thing is, I don't think folks actually understand. You literally are making these. This is not like you put your name on this.
I try to tell people, but I think since I have this certain...
Dude, you go to your house, it's like in a volcano. It's like a freaking fire shooting out. You're in a spacesuit.
I think once you reach a certain level of fame, people think that I'm like in my office with a top hat and a monocle and like, oh, I'm just...
You told me. You said, I don't even go in the house.
I don't. Like
all these fat French bulldogs. Though.
Yeah, the shop restroom was busted for about 2 weeks, and I had to walk in the house to like piss. And it like, this is the worst. I never even leave the property though. I'm like a hermit. I just like to work.
That's a beautiful place out there. Now, Jesse, looking at Trump and all of this, listen, I never liked the Democrats. The Republicans don't deliver on what they say they're doing, but I agree with their platform more. But with Trump, I mean, I've gone from like grudgingly supporting him a year and a half ago to like so proud that I support him. This guy, the stamina, the work, the attacks, the demon.
It'll be the best vetted president we've ever had ever. And I think everybody was ready for a change when, not the Obama change, but when Obama ran the first time. I bought into it a little bit. I was like, well, hey man, it'd be cool to have a black.
I'll be honest. I was neutral because I was sick of Republicans.
Yeah,
I hate John McCain.
It'll be cool to have I grew up in the hood, man. I was born in Linwood and grew up in Southgate and Long Beach, and I was like, man, it'd be cool to have a brother as president. You know, that's what we need.
I wanted unity.
You know, we needed Billy D. Williams to come in and like, look, this was gonna be like. You know, we needed that. Instead, we got Urkel, and then everybody realized like, oh wait, he's a college professor, and it's like, if college professors were so great at what they do, how come they're not all billionaires?
Well, not exactly. Not knocking teachers, because there is a rare case where somebody goes and teaches, but teachers teach because they can't do.
Yeah. Every college professor, when I was in college, they're all disgruntled. They all feel like everything's stacked against them. And they're all like, I don't know. I'm so disappointed because that guy could have been so great. He could have been, single-handedly, with like a few words, he could end all division in this country. He could end all racism. He could lift up homeless people and all that stuff. But
that's why I tacitly.
What it's really all about, it's all about himself. It's all about, where's he going to land soft at? What kind of a badass house is he going to have? That's what it's all about.
I was about to say, we thought Bush was bad vacationing 2 months a year, 3, 4, 5 months a year.
You can tell a lot about people. I know Bush's Secret Service guys, and that guy's.
He's nice.
It's the greatest guy ever. I know couple of Secret Service guys we did guns that are with Trump now, and he's, that guy's like down to earth,
He's hanging out with the white staff.
I know a guy with Hillary, and I know one guy that's with Michelle, and a former guy with Obama, and all three of them treat them like dirt.
Well, Hillary doesn't let you look.
And I think I'm a firm believer that you can tell a lot about a person is how they treat the little guy.
I agree.
And when they treat him like dirt, you know what that means? It means they're in a position they didn't earn. Trump, that guy's had ups and downs, everything else, but he earned where he's at, and he has to bust his ass to stay there.
And his dad was literally blue collar and came from nothing. That's the secret of Trump.
Yeah. And I don't know. I think myself, you, everybody with all the information that we can get now, and especially like WikiLeaks and all that stuff, it makes you feel helpless because you just want to go over and like jump. You just want to grab John Podesta and shake him, No,
I agree with you because I'm not a guy calling for violence, but I'm always honest.
But we can't do anything.
I actually start having like fantasies because let me ask you this question.
Okay.
I don't sit here and say what I want to believe. I say what's happening. I've talked to the top pollsters. I see the numbers. Trump's surging. He clearly is winning the battleground states. What do we do tomorrow night when CNN says she won? I mean, what do I do? I'm not going to be violent, but I'm not going to stop promoting liberty.
Well, I don't know. I think people need to figure out a way to rise up and band together. And, if we can't vote someone out of office that is ineffective and keep someone out of office that's an obvious thief and stealing from us, I just look at like all the money that Hillary's taken in the foundation. Imagine the dent she could have made in the homeless situation in America.
How she stole 94% of the Haitian money?
Yeah. Come on.
Who comes up with this? Let me ask you this question. Looking at this, and let's talk about Donald Trump, because you've told me stuff about Trump, nothing secret or private, but just how real he was. Back when I was first a year and a half ago supporting him, we were over at your house shooting with Shane Steiner and watching you smith some guns. But then I talked to Jerome Corsi, who was high level in State Department. Other people, they say, no, Trump knew what you knew, Alex, 30 years ago. He's just been waiting for the right moment.
Yeah, it's all timing. He's ahead of his time. You can hear bits and pieces of his messages and old, stuff with interviews with Oprah and stuff like that. He's never wavered, and I don't know. I'm like an entrepreneur of humans, and I have the best BS detector ever.
That's right. He was always against NAFTA again.
Yeah, and I can meet someone and like know whether they're full of shit or not. And like him, I don't get that. And look at his kids. His kids are rad. Don Jr. and Ivanka, and like they're part of the deal. Like we're gonna have like them in on it, And I think
it's like we're getting a group of superheroes.
Treat this like a job interview. So I have a big business that has thousands of employees, and who am I going to hire? I have two prospective clients. Take personality and politics aside. Let's just go on job, requirements and what their actual qualifications are. Trump's going to win by a mile.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the InfoWar, the front lines of the human awakening. I'm Alex Jones. More of our exclusive interview with Jesse James on the other side.
I posted something after I voted last week, and I had a UAW shirt on from the old Mountain Road plant that made I think they made Chrysler engines. And then someone posted something about like, oh, Mike Pence, he's a union buster and stuff like that. I'm like, don't you think unlimited immigration and letting people flood in the country, isn't that kind of a union buster?
Yeah, why do the unions, nothing against people coming in, I get why they're doing it. Why do we have to pay for everybody and then have Obama? Did you see him with the interviewer saying, I'm illegal, I'm going to vote? And he goes, well, that's your right to do?
Yeah, I just think, hey.
It doesn't mean we hate anybody, but can we go to China or Mexico and vote?
Look, honestly, like I've ran a business for 25 years and I had a couple hundred employees in California, and a good portion of those people were without papers. And I could take them right down to the spot where I knew a guy. I could get a real green card for each of them for $600 and get a real Social Security card with the hologram for $2,000. But in retrospect, thinking about that now, like the guys like Alex that you met at the shop, he's from Honduras and he's like got a lawyer. He's already in the citizenship process.
I agree. Make the legal process
and he pays taxes because you know what? We are America and we do let.
Well, the Democrats want to keep it underground so they control it.
No, but here's the thing: like we can let millions of people in there, but every one of those millions of people should stand side by side with us on tax day and pay their fair share. And I think a lot of the people, I watched every Friday on payday at West Coast Choppers in Long Beach. I'd sign all their paychecks, and there was a mobile check cashing truck used to pull up, and they'd all cash their checks, not take any taxes out, and send most of the money back to Mexico.
And I'll say this right now. You do have to pledge allegiance if you want to be in this.
Yeah.
I don't care what color you are. You're going to be pro-private property, pro-family, pro-gun. We're going to make you wealthy, but you got to sign on and not be a socialist.
Well, it's about us, not me, because me running my business like that and saving money on labor, I was only thinking about myself. I wasn't thinking about the betterment of the country, because there is guys that have all legal employees and they're all paying taxes.
Sure, but you're being honest. It was a part of your process.
Yeah, it was part of the process. And
it's like I paid for abortions.
It doesn't.
I paid for abortions when I was 18. Now I'm against it. And it doesn't mean I'm some hypocrite. I'm just being honest about it.
Yeah. But I think
you grow.
Yeah, and you learn like, hey, that's not, when the price for American-made goods goes through the roof and everything goes to China, that's why. Because not only was I finding cheaper labor, but people are already taking it another step and like, okay, let's ship all the stuff over to China, make it over there, or make it in Pakistan or South America.
Well, it's worse. You read the globalist documents, they made deals to pass tax laws and stuff where it makes you go to China. So the globalists, the different leftists and people, the banks, could manage deals with the communist generals on how could you get into China, see? So they actually induced us to go to China.
Well, I think all these issues, I think with the people that support Hillary have strong feelings for only themselves. Like I personally
That's profound. I'm going to interrupt you. Jesse James right now here with us. They've got studies out of Canada. We can pull them up. Studies out of the UK and the US. Actually, one out of Texas. I don't mean this mean, but people calling themselves liberal are 6 times more likely to steal, 10 times more likely not to give to charity, and are just these self-centered people that social justice warrior moral signal all day long, but they're actually, and then conservatives, not that term, are way more likely to give. So you just hit the nail on the head. From your experience, flesh that out. What are you getting at? Because to me, that's the essence.
I don't know. I think I was born in the wrong generation. I got a lot of the Reagan generation coming off the Iran crisis and the hostage crisis. And I saw, even as a kid, like 10 years old, I was like, man, Carter's weak. He's not strong. And I think I've said it for years, we need someone that's, I don't know how much control a president will have fighting against Congress. It's always going to be a push and pull, but at least they need to be a president. They need to rally people together and realize it's united we stand. And if everybody's only thinking about themselves and it's a personality conflict and stuff like that, I don't care if the person elected president, looks like Godzilla. As long as he's in there doing the job and supports people and lifts us all up and knows, hey, when Trump wins tomorrow, I'm not going to have any regrets against anybody that voted for Hillary or have any ill will towards them. You know what? Because we're all Americans.
They don't get a nation as like a ship. I mean, we're on the same team.
Yeah, and it's like we all have to band together. And we have, I opened a homeless shelter in Long Beach in 2004. And my big building there, I donated, and it's the Long Beach Rescue Mission. But I went against the grain when Long Beach, all the other businesses in the business corridor downtown wrote me these nasty letters saying we should bust the homeless out of Long Beach and stuff like that. And I'm like, you know what? No, I bought a building and like opened it, but I made it so you had to be employable.
Jesse James is our guest, jjfu.com. You're not here to promote stuff, but I'm going to make you do it. What is this badass gun? And I'm not just saying this. You make your own stuff. I don't know how you're doing. You got a few folks that help you, but these are original crafted firearms. Tell us about this beautiful weapon we're looking at here.
Well, the Damascus pistol is one that I forged that you saw me doing a little bit of. And this is a 300 Win Mag, like precision bolt action rifle. And we import a barrel in action from England, from RPA in England, and then every other piece except for the optic we make in-house. And, you know, just...
Now, I know you got a few little factories and stuff, and you also still do your shop where you use some cars and motorcycles, but when I've been over at your place, I mean, it's like there's like one guy helping you. You're in there literally like out of a movie with like huge furnaces and blasting fire in a spacesuit and like churning this stuff. How do you do that? You're like etching stuff yourself? And I'm told this is like 18 hours a day. I guess it's a love.
Well, I think the business in California got so big that, you know, with hundreds of employees and stuff, I didn't work anymore and I was miserable. And now I've eliminated everything from my life that would stop me from working. Like there's no phone in the shop, no TV.
So it's clear to say, because I've been there and you're almost like, oh, I'm going to do this. Like, sure. I mean, you're like, you love this.
I love it. Like I forged Saturday all day making some Damascus chef knives and some billets. I'm doing some guns out of Statue of Liberty material. And so I was working on literally till like my ankle said, F you. And I barely made it from the shop to the house and then just laid.
I was about to say, though, I don't just say this. I mean, there's something super manly about watching my grandfathers fix combines, and they knew how to do electricity or they knew how to fix everything. I don't know any of that. Watching you in there, it's just like weapons and badass stuff's coming out. I'm like, this is humanity, you know? Like you were talking about wanting to teach people how to do that, was we've lost that. My dad knows how to fix anything compared to me. His dad was better than him.
Well, I think we used to be a do-it-yourself society, and now we became like a do-it-for-me society, you know, and everything's thrown away. Like when that pen runs out, you just throw it out. Well, pens used to have cartridges in them.
They're beautiful, yeah.
So when the pen went out, you just put a new one in it, you know, and it's kind of like...
It's kind of like throw your family away, throw America away.
Well, I think it's like disposable, you know, put it in a landfill and like, you know, I think I don't know. I think I was born in the wrong era. You know, I would have been better in the 40s.
What is that really cool big green machine you've got?
It's
like a big robot.
It's a 1921 Watson Stillman 350-ton forging press that says Gargantua on it.
350 ton.
Yeah. So, and then I have like a 70s Chambersburg forging hammer with a 1,000-pound head on it. The machine weighs.
And what's that big spacesuit thing? Like you wear, looks like an iron, and like you're in there and like the fire's shooting out and like.
Well, it's because when I'm standing in front of the forge, but actually I'm dumb because I just built a shield for the front of the forge and I kind of hide behind it now and turn it when it's in there. And so now
I was there, you built more stuff.
Yeah, now I don't need all that. So I can just do it with put a bandana on, some dark glasses, I'm good. Still got big.
But what is it that's so to the Greeks, the Romans, you name it, primal about in the furnace of the volcano, just like building things?
Well, I think it's so simple. Like if you see like a 3D CNC router cutting out something really crazy out of wood, it's like the computer's doing all that. I have all these giant machines, but there still has to be like a dude in front of it. And it's just, you know, pressure.
So it's the human interfacing.
Yeah, it's pressure, like a hammer, big hammer, small hammer, you know, some kind of pressure, an anvil, and heat. It's only 3 elements.
I've had a chance to talk to Trump some off air. I've had him on air. And I'm not going to get into because the media always twists it, makes a big deal. But I know you were the first to endorse Trump. I know you were on a show with him. I know he likes you. He said that. What makes him tick? Because for me, he actually is like an underdog. He actually is in and not being screwed over. So he's a very aggressive alpha male, but he's not out to get the little guy. He sees America being screwed over and wants to like really bring in a new golden age. Is that an accurate or is that statement wrong? You know Donald Trump very well. I mean, who is Donald Trump?
I think he has a big heart. You know, he's a good father, and I think that's his kids are a big priority. And that says a lot about someone that puts, hey, the future of my kids in the forefront. And it shows in his older kids. And I think like Eddie, who runs the mailroom at Trump Tower, is a Puerto Rican cat that's like, and like Trump gets there every morning, not when he's been on the road, but he gets there every morning and like drinks coffee with him out of the coffee machine, and it's like he treats it.
And it's not patronizing. I'm told by a lot of folks, he likes everybody.
Yeah.
He really likes black people, I'm told. It's like,
I don't think he really sees.
He just likes people.
Yeah, he doesn't see that. I mean, when I was on The Apprentice with Dennis Rodman, Dennis has an obvious, really bad drinking problem. And I suffered that for a little bit. And I really saw a side of him that, like, it was sad and sadness mixed with compassion. And it's not stuff that you can't fake that stuff. You can't fake like you care. You can fake happiness.
Let me tell you, I've had long conversations with Trump, and it's like, he's like reading my mind. It's crazy. He's smart.
Well, I think once he wins tomorrow and people really get to know him, because all they're seeing is the, media slanted the other way. So they're going to just cherry pick stuff that.
Yeah, he says Hispanics are great people, really wonderful. I love them. They're the best. But criminals are coming here. We got to track them. A lot of criminals. They turn it. All Mexicans are criminals.
Yeah, and I'm in the interesting position that I felt that kind of ridicule and heat from media and tabloids and all that stuff. So I know what it's like. They'll twist anything to do.
I got to say, I don't want to get into all that, but I know, separate from you, I know the inside baseball, and I talked to you and confirmed it. You were so classy. You never engaged. You just sat there and took it all.
Well, a little bit.
You really did. I remember seeing.
I beat the out of a couple paparazzi only on.
No, I get that, but you never struck back in a whole Hollywood setup for PR.
Nah, you know what? I just kind of like, took my licks and just walked away. I didn't belong where I was anyway, so I belong in my shop with my hood.
I was about to say, you're like. People think like Jesse James is the wild man, the number one guy on TV, reality TV, guns, everything. And then knowing you, it's like, whoa. It's like there's not even anything going on here but reality. It's the total difference than the emptiness of Hollywood. Because, you've been offered tons of stuff. I've been offered things. It's like so empty. Like, thank God you're in Austin, brother. You like being in Austin?
I dig it. Except for, man, it's pretty hot in August.
It is. Well, plus LA's moving here. Nothing against California, but it's like, it is kind of, all the trendies and.
Yeah. So we got to tell them, if anybody wants to move here, tell them like, oh man, it's like crazy with insects.
Well, we got like 18 minutes left. I appreciate you coming down tonight during the 52-hour live broadcast. In just a few hours, it's midnight. We go into tomorrow. You keep saying when Trump wins tomorrow, you got the floor. Just take over. Jesse James doesn't, just show up for nothing. You're kicking ass. Tell us where you stand, where Trump is, where you see this going.
Unless I think if there's going to be any kind of foul play or dirty tricks, I think it'll be pretty obvious. I think everything's so transparent now that I don't see how they can get away with it. And that's really the only chance she has to win. And I think I have my ear to the ground and know people all over this country, and I can feel the groundswell. Can't you feel it?
I can feel it.
I can't even talk to my good friend Rob in Philadelphia, and they tried to go to the Trump rally it's been about 2 or 3 weeks ago. They didn't get within, they got like 15 miles away from it.
I left 4 hours before he was here a few months ago.
Yeah.
Brother, I was in traffic for 2 hours and gave up. Our crew got there. They had to walk 2 miles in.
Yeah. I just think people are fed up. People they may not know him that well, but things suck so bad now they're willing to take a chance. And they want, I think we need to be inspired.
I like how Trump says, I'm not perfect, nobody is, but I've grown. And I can really see that in the process. And again.
Well, can you honestly look, Trump loves this country and he loves the people and he's always been thankful for decades about.
That's why the elite are so scared.
Can you honestly look at Hillary and think that she loves this country or loves the people? No,
the WikiLeaks say she hates it.
It's all about money. And I think it's, I think in her mind, she probably doesn't think she's ever done anything wrong. I think, she's probably whipping her own fumes and, think, oh, well, I'm amazing. I was the former first lady and, Secretary of State. And I'm like, everybody should kiss my ring. Yeah. And waltz me right into the presidency.
Entitlement.
Yeah. I think she's going to be wearing an orange jumpsuit very soon.
Well, that's why they're so scared. Because Trump the other night, I've been talking to folks, they say, if Trump says something, he's going to try it. And that's why he knows we've got trade deals that are totally one-sided. That's why he keeps saying, it's so easy. It's so easy. We're not going to screw Mexico or China over. We're just not going to have China with a 35% currency tax on us.
Yeah, we're not going to bend over and, let everybody take it to us that, we want to do business with.
Don't you love, because I know in business, I'm talking to folks, you're a good business guy. You're not going to get run over. You do good deals. Same with me. They go, Alex Jones is a real in business because I wouldn't let you run over me. I do good deals. It's the same thing. No, we're not screwing people, but we're not here to be screwed.
Yeah, I think it's, there's a difference between being a difference between being shrewd and on top of your game business-wise, and it's when you get a little bit of success, there's people that'll purposely put themselves in your way to steal from you or sue you or whatever, and I've been through it all, man. And it's, I think it kind of, you build up a scab towards life and business and society. And I just, I think, man, if you or I did some of the stuff that Hillary's done, we'd
be in jail.
Yeah, we'd be in jail. And it's I think the stuff with Comey, this is how it works. Comey's basically a front office guy, right?
Exactly.
So it's like
a spokesman.
There's FBI headquarters and there's field offices all over the country, and agents handle investigations, not the home office. And
politicos go to political dinners.
Yeah, and so for all we know, the investigation could still be going on because agents could have taken it at a field office and taken it over themselves.
Well, that's happened, actually. The problem is they can't get it up through the Justice Department.
And agents can present their evidence to Congress on their own.
I know you're saying they could. You're being told. I'm guessing you've been told this. I've been told this, too. They're ready for press conferences. That's why Hillary's so scared.
Yep. I just think, I think they got her. I think they put some kind of pressure on Comey so it didn't appear that he was doing stuff to manipulate the election. But I've had a lot of friends that have been under investigation by the feds, and any of the ones that ever rap smack about the feds or FBI, guess what, including my own sister, guess where they're all at?
In the pen.
Yep. And when FBI comes to interview you, they have a 97% conviction rate. When they interview you, they've already got you. They're not like the cops, oh man, this guy smacked his wife. We better drive out there and see what happened and do an investigation. No, the FBI doesn't operate like that.
Yeah, they wouldn't even mess with Hillary if they weren't going after her. Yeah,
they don't waste their time. And I think it's only a matter of time. Well, and I'm glad it's not happening before the election, because then they'll always
well, that's what I was told. I was told it's after the election.
They're only, then everybody would always say, oh, Trump only won because she went to jail. No, I don't want it like that. I want him to have an overwhelming day tomorrow where the people speak.
Exactly. And it's not that the police or the feds or anybody's perfect. What do you make of, Jesse James is our guest here in studio, on top TV hosts, but really a metal urgist, top blacksmith over here, expert in automobiles, you name it. I don't know how you describe it all, but really cool stuff.
Make good French toast, too.
Americana. Looking at this, it's that Hillary and the globalists are out to get the country, and then they fund George Soros, this weirdo Nazi collaborator. I say weirdo.
One of my customers knows him, and he just says the guy just hates America. And I was like, well, I asked him, I said, well, what's his end game? If Soros is funding all this stuff, he's got to, if he's putting millions of dollars out there, what does he get? And I guess he's global commodities guy, and so
he thinks that we collapsing and buy it up.
Yep.
And Soros admits that. Well, here's people ask me my end game. Low taxes, prosperity, great medical care, a future. Soros went on 60 Minutes. They've taken it off the web. We've got a clip of it. But if you put it up, they hit you with copyright. And it's Leslie Stahl. She's like 1999. She goes, you helped round up more than 10,000 Jews in Romania and Hungary. Do you apologize? He goes, no, I do not. It's what I need to do. The point is, this guy is the biggest demon you can imagine.
Yeah.
He's here, and just what you said, he doesn't like all this prosperity and freedom. He just wants to mount our head on the wall. Like, I see somebody that's great at doing building stuff. I admire him. George Soros would see you, this great metallurgist, this great artist. He freaking hates you, man. It's like this total difference between we love people that produce, we hate people that produce.
It's like a Brave New World, dumbing down a society, and we just want like worker drones that do their part and then die off, and then we'll breed more. And He
thinks we're there to serve him.
Yep.
And so let me ask you, I think they want to bridge too far because cops aren't perfect. There's bad cops.
Well, hey, you know what? In a litigious society, though, why aren't the families of the slain Dallas officers suing that guy direct personally?
No, hear me out. I totally agree.
And anybody that lost their house or their business or anything in Ferguson, man, why aren't they going after them?
No, because they're too chivalrous. That's what I'm saying. Is that I'm somebody that's against the police state, but that's a governmental issue. That's the people. The cop has one of the hardest, craziest jobs. On average,
a lot of people, I think they judge because I have tattoos and I ride a bike and I'm from Long Beach and I grew up in the hood, and they think I'm like an anti-police. And I was an honorary Long Beach police officer for 15 years. I went to meetings every week, and it's like, there's no way in hell that I would want to be a cop in this.
Well, that was my next point is, cops have problems, but on average, compared to the general public, they're more committed, more involved. Point is, they're not perfect, but what do you make of Soros and Obama? I think that's their failure point, is when they openly tried to cause a civil war and push groups that were saying kill cops.
Yeah, and the stuff with Trayvon Martin, Ferguson, all that stuff, Obama could have ended it.
That's what I mean. Right? So what do you think's behind that?
I don't know. I kind of think we'll know in time, but I don't think we really know who Obama was. I think we all saw that one Democratic National Convention speech, and we were going, we were tired of Iraq and tired of the Bush years, and we all saw that one speech like, oh man, this is what we need. And we rode that. We didn't vet him. We didn't do any of the stuff that they normally do. And, all this stuff that's happening now with the one-sided with media and stuff, that was all happening then.
But now we know.
Yeah, but there was no WikiLeaks, and there was no, Twitter wasn't big.
Yeah, what do you make of the newest thing where every CNN show and MSNBC is scripted by the White House? Can you imagine the job where the White House and Hillary and others are running everything they do, Jesse James? That is crazy. What do you make of the newest thing where every CNN show and MSNBC is scripted by the White House? Can you imagine the job where the White House and Hillary and others are running everything they do, Jesse James? That is crazy. The questions are pretty...
North Korea. It's like state media, and it's like, Russian censorship, and that's we've always prided ourselves as a free-thinking, free media society.
Exactly. So how do you as a Democrat... Because we've been to the events in Ferguson. No, I'm saying, how do you, hypothetically, no, not you. How is somebody as a Democrat, because I've never been a Republican, but hell, I'm with them now compared to these people. You sit there, how do you, we've had reporters in Ferguson and in Detroit and in California, just all over the country. I'm trying to mention all the places. We've had reporters probably 30 places. And there are literal college kids bussed in, funded by Move On and Soros, saying, deck the halls with dead cops, shoot cops. That's calling for murder. So I asked the question, how do you get college kids...
just beat their ass. Nightsticks again.
Well, I agree. So how did you... That's what I'm saying. How do you get somebody to randomly just say, a cop's gassing up his car, I'm going to walk up and shoot him in the head? What the hell, man?
I don't, it's already a tough job enough to be a cop, but to then... people trying, I don't know.
So what do you think, though? You're a smart guy. I'm asking your view. Why are elements of the government, of the Democrats, trying to say deck the halls with dead cops, and then we get in the last year 100 cops or more murdered in cold blood. No one even knew their name. These people just kill them because MSNBC said it was cool.
I don't know. You know, it's probably the stuff, you know, that you've always said, you know, trying to start a civil war and trying to start unrest. You know, I just can't put it together in my mind the why someone would do that. You know, why? I don't know. You know, I don't really know.
Because you're not a scumbag.
Yeah, and it's just like, you know, hey, you know, I've got my ass kicked by the cops before a few times. And you know what? I totally deserve it.
Me too.
You know, and it's like
cops showed up.
Yeah, and I think, you know, now that everybody's got Facebook Live, okay, yeah, cop's gonna pull me over.
It's all out of context.
Cool. I'm gonna talk smack to the cop, and I think if we took out nightsticks and went crack like we used to, then a lot of that would go away.
Well, here's what I'll say: we need balance in this country, but the enemy is not local government. The enemy are these multinationals like Soros.
Yeah, I think it's, you know, if people are it's a whole nother element. It's one thing with civil unrest because I lived through the LA riots, and, you know, and it was pretty bad. That was no one was paying people to do that. People were genuinely pissed in South Central about Rodney King. You know, I don't agree with the way they went about it, but I think, you know, those guys did beat Rodney King's ass. Rodney King was resisting arrest, but, you know,
they overdid it.
He maybe deserved to get a thump on the back of the head or restrained.
But not 20.
But he didn't deserve to be kicked and get his ass kicked. You know, I come from the days where if you ran from the cops or you took a swing at a cop, you got your ass kicked. And if maybe it wasn't right then, but it was back at the station when nobody could see it. And that, I think,
my experience with the cops was, I don't want to get into it, but I mean, they would actually find out what happened and let me go, even though some other guy was in a coma. But I wasn't looking for trouble. My only issue was there were some political cops who were bad. Jesse James, in the time we have left, and I'm just going to tell you, inside baseball, he literally makes...
But yeah, basically support cops. That's what I say.
Well, because here's the deal. You compare the cops to the general jellyfish.
You know what? Here's the bottom line. You can talk all the shit you want about police officers and police abuse and all this stuff, but when your 70-year-old mom is choking to death on the floor of your kitchen, you call 911.
Well, I was about to say, it's a cop-out because it's individuals.
And the cop is going to get there the fastest. That's who's going to come and try to save her.
Well, no, I totally agree with you that statistically, you've got a couple hundred people killed a year by cops, maybe wrongfully, but you've got thousands of people saved. It becomes this establishment government that's so corrupt is wanting to scapegoat the police. And so that's what I'm against.